We are live. Welcome to the RedBlue Pod number 52, and we got a guest. You can now present yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm the jaded fanboy.
That's good. Today we got a lot of topics, but we invited you mainly for Terminator. And I was also wondering if you had seen Black Mirror, the TV show.
No.
Okay, so the focus will be the all Terminator movie. Last week, Cole and I talked about the first one in depth, and yeah, I guess you can start off by telling us about the first one.
Well, I really like bringing up talking about the first Terminator movie because it's a great example where it's a movie that I love and I enjoy, but it's still filled with brain dead stupid and it still has plot holes in it. So it's not a question of, oh, if a movie has plot holes, I automatically dislike it. It's like, no, it has some, but it doesn't stop me from loving the movie. I hate the plot holes, but there's not enough stupid for me to like. There's so much good in that movie that it overcomes the problems, but it still has problems, and I still acknowledge them. I just don't pretend they don't exist, or I don't try to explain them away. Whereas the second movie, again, also has problems, but again, I love that movie. It's a great movie, and the special effects of it were like revolutionary at the time, and you couldn't really dismiss that. But again, there are movies that I love that do have plot holes and brain dead stupid in them. But if the movie's good enough, it overcomes them. I just don't ignore the stupid, which is why I like bringing up the first Terminator movie.
Okay, so you speak about the stupid. I'm curious to see what were your issues and what you call stupid in the first one. I'm really curious. I had issues as well. It wasn't perfect, but
It's a
I want to hear your take.
it's a really simple one. But remember that famous line or that famous scene when the Terminator goes to the police station and he goes, "I'm looking for Sarah Connor," and the police officer goes, "No, she's whatever." And then he looks around, right? Looks at the structure and then goes, "I'll be back." And he goes to get a pickup truck. And I go, why? Like, why does he need a pickup truck to get through? Like, he doesn't. Just take the police officer, throw him, and just walk into the building. There's no reason for you to come back. It was like I thought he went to go get the pickup truck because he had weapons in the back or something. No, he just uses it to crash through. Whatever. The biggest plot hole in this movie was it's Reese and Sarah are. It's the car chase where it's Reese and Sarah and the Terminator's in the police car, and they end up swerving, and the Terminator's car ends up crashing against the wall, and then all of a sudden, all these police show up, and I'm going, "Oh crap, they're dead. They're screwed." But what happens? No, the Terminator leaves. What do you mean the Terminator leaves? Why? Because his eye got screwed up. How did the car crash? See, the problem is the movie is going, we can't have the Terminator be there when he crashes and the police show up because otherwise the Terminator would kill her. Like the fact that the Terminator crashed should not have stopped the Terminator from killing Sarah. But the movie's going, we can't have the Terminator kill Sarah. So we're just going to pull this bullshit stupid out of our ass and have it that the Terminator has to go back to his apartment so that he can take out his eye, clean it up, and then go back again. And it's like, well, if that was the case, he gets out of the car, takes his eyeball, throws it out, and then just kills Sarah. Movie can't have that. That was a major plot hole for me. The other one was, now, it's a cool scene. It's a cool idea. It's when Reese and Sarah are at the hotel, right? And while Reese goes shopping, Sarah calls her mom. And then you find the Terminator there. And I'm going, why the hell would the Terminator go, you know what? I have no idea where they are. I'm going to go to Sarah Connor's mother's house and just sit by the phone hoping that she's going to call. Like this doesn't, like, none of this makes any sense. Again, love the movie, love the story, love the sci-fi element, but there are problems in this movie that I just can't unsee.
Yeah, finally back, and I do agree. This film, while still great, definitely not as good as the second. Definitely has its issues and stupid in it. With like what he does, or like what he could have easily done, but choosing to do other things so the movie goes on, and so there's cool moments, and also some issues, like he aims like with like 100% accuracy at some points, and at other points he doesn't, and of course some of the practical effects super cool, but there are some of them, like mainly just the whole face mask that clearly looks like a face mask when they're showing those shots.
At that time, Cole, that was really, really good.
Yeah, and of course.
If you look back at it, you're going, oh my God, it's so obvious. But even at the time, we're looking at it and we're going, okay, yes. What? Like, I've actually seen people do like, they'll like watch the movie to get their first reaction. And I've actually seen some people going, what? In that scene where it's literally, obviously, stop motion photography and special effects, they would go, why does he look so weird? They actually don't even realize that it's not even him.
Yeah, so I'm not faulting the film, because again, for its time, that's literally the best they could have possibly done, and it was amazing for its time. It's sort of the same thing with the first Evil Dead. Like, obviously now the practical effects,
practical effects are still antiquated, right?
But yeah, I still thought it was still an excellent film. Again, not a little under the second for me, but I do think the second fixes a little bit.
I actually thought the first one was the best one. I had less issues with it, but after talking to both of you, it's very funny. I like both of your takes.
Well, yeah, it's those things where again, I hate doing this because then you can't unsee it. So now when you go see the movie, you're going, oh crap, Jaded was right. That is stupid. And again, I understand.
I don't hate doing that. You know why? It's how we have better movies. We need to be critical to stuff. If we don't, we just accept any shit that they will serve us.
Again, I mean, you can still like enjoy something however much, still point it out. It's fine. Like, I'd say that's part of being a fan, to point out, the nitpicks in a film that you love. For fun. But yeah, what I wasn't like alive in the 80s or whatnot, so I have to ask, so Jaded, would you say that movies like intentionally did scenes like the one where he drives through the building with the car, where it's intentionally like that, where like obviously realistically he would just kill the guy, or he would go back for his guns instead of just driving through the building, but they did it just for knowing it's stupid, but did it just for the surprise factor to make the audience
They did it again. They did it for the, I don't want to say the shock value, but they did it for the humor value. They did, in other words, they set up the joke and they ignored the fact that the joke was. There's a very common thing that I even say with my kid, with my son. Does the cool factor override the stupid factor? And that's what that scene was. It was a cool scene, but it required stupid to have it happen.
Yeah.
And so many people love that "I'll be back" line that nobody, they ignore, or they bypass the stupid that was necessary for it.
Yeah.
And I forget, oh my God, the name of the director.
James Cameron.
James Cameron did that on purpose. Because he was going, you know what? I have this really cool line. I have this really cool scene. It doesn't make sense, but it's still cool, so I'm throwing it in.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you think it also being like mainly like a comedic scene as well, like makes up for it.
It was a comedic scene. It's like that scene in the second movie where he goes to the guard and instead of doing it, he shoots him in the leg, right? And then he turns to him, he goes, "I didn't kill him." It's like,
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, like nowadays, I do think in films like Terminator and RoboCop, a lot of people like nowadays watch them and they kind of like the humor aspects are lost on them. It feels like.
Oh yeah, same thing with oh shoot, I keep forgetting that stupid movie's name. The one with all the alien insects.
Oh, Mars Attack or something. No, Starship Troopers. Yeah,
Starship Troopers. People like all of those little news bits, all of those little side things is literally, poking fun at the political structure and all that stuff. And the people are watching, they go, "I don't get it." And it's like, that wasn't funny. I don't understand why they're doing that. I go, no, that's the whole point. It's talking. Yeah, people just right over their heads. I remember walking out of Starship Troopers and I'm going, "Oh my God, I loved that movie." And I go, and I'm talking to people, I'm going, "How did you not love this movie?" Because I didn't get it. There wasn't that much action. Like, I thought it was supposed to be a war movie. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I'll be honest though, that there were, when I did see Starship Troopers, a lot of the humor when I first watched it when I was like, I believe 13, it did go over my head. And
I get you're 13. That's different. I get it.
Yeah. Well, also because I just also didn't understand a lot of jokes. But again, when I rewatched it, I'll be honest, it might have went over my head a second time as well if I didn't like make sure to check who the director was, and then I saw it was the guy who did RoboCop, and I'm like, okay, so it's probably going to be satire as well.
The satire was amazing. I mean, it's like a public it's like, why did they show a clip of a public execution? I go, that's the point, is that it's the satire of human nature in that you will actually watch on satellite somebody getting electrocuted. It's a satire on people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it has gone in late love over the years, so I will say that, like a lot of people have been promoting it again.
It's got its problems, and it's like not, hot. It's not like hot.
It isn't like a masterpiece, but
it's not a masterpiece.
A lot of people over the years, because there were so many people who it flew over their heads. Nowadays, they've been really like promoting that film a lot online now.
Second and third, and the direct-to-video ones, I'm not a big fan of it. But
I will always remember the first Terminator as the one where Sarah Connor was able to outrun the truck.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that's one of the. Cole always talks about the editing, and I'm going, the editing in that was so hilarious with that chase scene, because it's like she's this far away, and then all of a sudden it goes to Reese, and he jumps into the cancer. Then it goes back to Sarah, and all of a sudden Sarah's
that whole thing was just all done horribly. That scene, I really hated that scene there.
Oh yeah, I mean, how she just jumped ahead of time.
Yeah, it's sort of like what was it? The one. It wasn't the very beginning when the shooting started, I believe, but there's this one sequence in that bar scene that I really hated as well.
And the other one, the other again, it's a little thing, but it's you see that like they're throwing the homemade pipe bombs, right? And you see now because of the special effects, I understand, I get it. The explosions are very small, very minor, very nothing. I get it. The problem is you can't show how weak these explosions are. Have Reese shove one into the Terminator and it blows him in half. It's like, no, you don't get to do that. Sorry, Cameron, you don't get to do that without me looking at it going, if that was the case, you should have been blown apart. But like, how did these dinky little pops somehow blow a Terminator in half? It was just
So,
but again, I'm trashing the movie, but I love the story. I love the characters. I love the plot. I love so much about it that I can still love the movie despite all of the problems with
Yeah,
it.
to me, that's also the same with Aliens for me as well. There were so when I
Oh,
rewatched Aliens, I thought it was like such an amazing film from my memory, and people hyped it up, and especially the lead actress performance, and I still really enjoyed it as well on the same level as the first Terminator. But rewatching it, there were a lot of
oh,
there
yeah,
were a lot of shaky especially there was a lot of bad slow motion bits in that film that were just horrendous.
yeah. But again, it's the first time you're watching it. You're trying to just keep up, so you're letting it ride because you're
Yeah.
just wondering what's going on. But then that's the thing about a lot of these movies. On rewatch, you see the things that you didn't catch the first time because
Yeah.
you're just constantly keeping up.
Yeah, I will say though, surprisingly, there weren't as unlike the first Terminator and Aliens 2, there weren't as many with that for me when I was rewatching the Indiana Jones films. I thought there would be a lot more, but
You know,
So before we move on to Terminator 2, what would be the thing you liked the most in the first one, Jaded?
the time travel aspect, because it's a closed loop. Like the second movie ends up screwing it up. But the one thing that I liked about the time travel element of the first movie is that it's a closed loop, and it was great because he goes, nobody else comes through, nobody goes back, nobody else comes through, and I'm going, okay, great. It's a self-contained story. There can't be a sequel. There can't be a sequel because it's a closed movie. So there's no fudging with this, and it's like you get this movie, it's done, and that's what I loved about it. When they ended up screwing it up with the second movie, but that's another story. But that was my favorite part of the movie. The idea was that it was a closed loop. It was a self-contained story.
I'm on board with you. I think the time travel aspect is amazing in the first one, and I tend to really try really hard to suspend disbelief with the others because I'm like, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
trust me. After the second, just give up, just trash them.
Yeah, like
um,
the second one literally requires you to have the suspension of disbelief to go, okay, all the things that we said in the first movie? Yeah, we're going to have to ignore that so we can have the second movie. Oh, hey, Chillmonger.
Hey,
Hi, chill. I'm glad to see you. I thought you were asleep at that time, but welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I heard the Terminator talk starting about the pipe
Oh
bombs, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh, you already got there, huh?
Yeah, well, actually, because I thought you were asleep, that's why I said 9:30. But I could only get Jaded earlier. That's what happened. So I was like, we will talk with Jaded, we will talk our other topic, and then we will talk again with Showmonger. That was basically the idea. But you're awake, and that's amazing. Welcome. So we got Jaded take on Terminator 1. Um, what's yours? What are your thoughts on the first movie?
I can see the innovation for it, and I can see a lot of other movies that I've watched. Because, by the way, guys, I rewatched it this week. But because of what they started in the distant future and a baby being born and like the themes that they introduced here were repeated. Even like for something like the red eye after it's being hydraulically crushed, okay? The light turning out to signify that it has died. In Avengers Endgame, Iron Man's last moment was the light. Okay, so Jaded, when you watched Endgame, I guess you made the connection, and I didn't until this week.
Oh, yeah. Again, it's funny because with my daughter, right? They'll talk about memes and then I'll show her these old classic movies and they'll go, oh, that's where that's from. Oh, that's the movie this is from. Oh, I understand why you saw that. Oh, now I understand why you're saying this.
That's where no problemo dickwad comes from.
Yeah. Or like, what was it? There's a whole bunch. Like there was again, this is like 10 years ago. There was all these memes from all these old movies, but nobody knew what these old retro movies from the '80s and stuff. So that
I
I all
didn't know
love.
that in Die Hard, there's a scene where he goes something about Yankee Doodle Cowboy, and then there's another one where he says
Kanye, mother.
that. Why would be the line? That would be the one. And I'm like, oh, that was the movie that's from when I was watching it the first time.
So, did you have any issues with the first movie?
Yeah, sure, I had issues with the movie. It didn't look great. Stop motion Terminator was trash.
Again, this is like 1980s, dude. You had to, they didn't have the special effects technology that they have today.
I mean, they had more stop motion time though. Like instead of 30 frames per second, they could have upped it to 60, and maybe that would have made it
It
for
didn't exist. You want to know how much that would have cost back then?
Yeah.
an extra frame.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You have to understand, you had to take into consideration the computing powers that they had.
Yeah, I heard something ridiculous like the technology in our phone is
Yeah.
way more than what was sent to space 60 years ago
Yeah.
in that
It's like-
hoax where they didn't actually visit the moon.
They'd actually visit them,
Yeah, I watched Transformers.
which is why it didn't require so much tech, because it was like,
Yeah. But it looks better than the climax of Black Panther.
Agreed.
Because it looked, because it was still a real animatronic kind of thing, right? It was still real. I'll get back to you on that.
Don't be shy. If you got any other issues, then tell us.
Oh,
man.
the nudity was abhorrent. No, I don't care.
You don't care?
You know what? You know what's interesting though? When Jennifer Lawrence was saying first female action star, people cited her. In her first movie, she is not a female action star. She's sort of like always running away and the victim.
Yeah, and poorly, like Megan Fox
Sarah
in Transformers 2.
yeah, but she loved Todd, so it didn't matter.
So, what was your favorite thing about the first Terminator movie, Chillmonger?
Because I'm
was
not
your favorite?
saying it's bad, but I don't know what to say.
You don't know
What
what
was
to
your
say.
favorite part? Like, what was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie.
The lore, the character, the story, the action. What made
The phone
the
book
movie
stuff.
good?
We got
Oh.
a pattern killing, and then when the cop kind of realized that was an interesting moment. Yeah, the lore also was cool as well. The surprise that Reese is the father, that was a good surprise. It was a good surprise. It was a good surprise. What else did I like about it? I like the character of Sarah Connor too. She's cool.
Yeah, she's very likable. She's amazing. I think that was her best movie. Maybe it's the second one. Second one did great job
Different
with her.
character, though. Different character. Same character, but a different personality.
Yeah. So anything else guys would like to add to Terminator 1 before we dive deep into the
Not
second
me.
one?
No,
Yes, nobody. So we'll mark down the timestamp.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
guys,
do you give a letter or number rating for Chill?
Oh yeah, right.
Let's
I
give
I
it
almost
9.
forgot to ask 9.
No,
Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
9.
Yeah,
We
I'll
gave
give
it
it
the
like
same.
an 8 or 8.5, I
Well,
guess.
let me give one thing. When they put the bomb in the tailpipe, I think that it should have rattled out, or at least rattled forward. But it definitely needed to not be kind of stuck in place. It could have moved.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 9 for Chillmonger, 9 for me, and Cole 8.59.
Yeah, like an 8.5. And Jada doesn't hand them out, so.
Yeah, that's why I
don't
almost
do
forgot.
numbers. I don't do numbers. It's a very, again, for the time. The problem is that it's a 40-year-old movie. So at the time, it was it was something new. It was something different. It was a great story. It was a great action. It was a great character. You can't do that now because it's like it's been copied. People will go back. People will see it and go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that a million times." I go, "Yeah, but in 1980, you did not see that a million times." You know what I mean? You saw it maybe 2 or 3 times, and so yeah, it's a great movie. If you take it again, you have to see it with the eyes of going, look, this came out in 1980s. You have to give it that default.
Yeah, so I guess now we can move on to the second one. So what would be your issues with the second one, starting with Cole?
I would say mainly just, the time travel stuff that Jaded mentioned. Yeah, they did screw it up. Outside of that, there's really like for me at least no big issues. Like there are definitely like nitpicks here and there, like with certain edits, certain shots, certain like practical or visual stuff that I do think could have been done better. But overall, not really any issues outside of that for me. I do think it improved on a lot. But there's definitely some stuff still lingering that they could have patched up. But overall, did think it was like a better outside of the time travel stuff.
Next up, Chillmonger, what would be your issues with the second movie?
The out of nowhereness. It reminded me of Avatar 2, where all of a sudden the same cast, I guess out of loyalty, had to be repeated for the new movie. So they found another way to get Arnold Schwarzenegger a job and be part of the movie. Except he's a good guy now.
Any other issues?
Okay. When time passes, we want to know that our characters who rode off into the sunset, quite literally in Terminator 1, we want to know that they're in a better place and they're living happily ever after. That's not what we got. We started with her in disarray. That's not something I'm in favor of. I think Star Wars has soured me to that because of the way Han, Luke, and Leia were in episode 7, 8, 9. So seeing that she's being treated like a psycho kind of person, I don't like that. That's the issue.
Okay, do you have any other issues, man? Don't be shy, man. Spill all issues you may have.
I'm sure something will pop up while we're talking about it and discussing it that I'll think, oh yeah, that was a problem too. But like the villain was fine. The issues, I don't know, CGI looked kind of weird. Remember when he goes to the elevator and he turns his fingers into some, that was kind of weird.
But at the time, it was kind of mixed. It was, again, CGI back then was more expensive, so they had CGI for a little bit. But then when it went to practical effects, it looked very janky and very like you could tell when it stopped being CGI, and you could tell when it started being practical effects because when he opens up the elevator, you can literally see that it's these little practical effect hooks as opposed to CGI.
Yeah, that was my concern when I was rewatching it. I wish they just stuck to one thing. But it definitely isn't, as bad as future films, especially that CGI when, like gets shot and you see his metal body. Oh, that was just...
There's still camera tricks that you can do to affect some of these effects. So for one example, when he tells the Terminator, hey, can you just stand on one foot? You got to listen to what I have to say. And he gets up on one foot, right? Now, a Terminator, I don't want to see him wobbling a little bit and here and there. And there's a camera trick. All you got to do is shoot him off screen that below he's actually got his foot on top of the chair, right? So that way
so you don't actually see
him, and the thing is, they could have easily done that, just off screen with his foot's on a box on a little platform that makes it higher. And so we go, oh, look, he's standing still completely this whole time. Oh, his knee's still up there. And when they cut to a wide shot and then they cut back to a close shot, and yeah, his foot's resting on the thing. So that way he can keep still and static. You see, Multi, you asked me for another complaint. I got you.
I like that because I think it's part of the discussion. It's relevant to speak about what we like, but it's also relevant to speak about stuff we didn't like. Now, Jaded, what would be your issues?
There was this one scene in this movie that has stuck with me through all these years. It's the one scene. Now, you have to try to understand. I am a Silver Surfer fanboy. I have been a Silver Surfer fanboy all my life. Now, what has this got to do with anything? I will explain. It's the scene where it's the T-1000 is chasing them up in that truck, right? And then the truck hits the overhang, and then it explodes. And you see the T-1000 come out, and his body is all silver. And he's walking all silver. And as soon as I saw that, I went, now you have no excuse for there not to be a Silver Surfer movie. I swear to God, that was my first thought. And that's all I cared about. That's all I remember from that movie. As soon as I saw that entire full body silver look on body, I want my Silver Surfer movie.
You started fan casting. All right, that's gonna be Lawrence Fishburne. Yes.
I don't care who it was. I saw that scene and I went, I want my Silver Surfer movie. There's no excuses anymore. But yeah, overall, again, the special effects were great. The characters were interesting. But again, even if we take out the time travel aspect of the problems of it, the one thing that really is that again, it's a nitpick, and I'm not saying that it ruined the movie for me, but at the same time, it also did, is that they would recreate scenes from the first movie in the second movie. Like in the first movie, when Reese, in the beginning of the movie, when Reese shoots the Terminator, he falls back and smashes through the window, right? And then lands on the ground. Well, in T2, they're in a store. And what happens? The Terminator shoots the T-1000 and he smashes back out the window. You know, they recreated iconic scenes from the first movie in the second movie, and I'm going,
give me your clothes, your shoes, and a motorbike.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, because in the first movie, it goes, I need your clothes, your shoes. I got the joke. But then in the second movie, they wanted to do it again, but they just changed how they did it. It's like, I get it. It's not funny the second time. It only works the first time.
There were some problems. Yeah. And like another one would be this. We had no mention of a second time that they're going to do some time travel to kill the younger John. That was new. That was news to us in the beginning of the movie. Oh, yeah. Oh, so they did it before he was born, and then they did it later when he was a kid. Okay. Well, you guys didn't say that in the first movie at all. And that's, I mean, you have to get over that really quickly at the beginning of the movie just to enjoy everything. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but once you do, you can just enjoy the movie.
Yeah. And again, I understand why they did what they did, because they wanted to have a young John Connors. They wanted to show his character, but it's like, the character was annoying. I didn't care about his foster parents. I cared more about the fact that his dog died than his foster parents died, because I didn't care about his foster parents. I didn't even care if he survived the movie, because I didn't like the character. Right? He was just an annoying person. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is the guy that's going to grow up to be the savior of mankind. It's like, I don't see how that's going to happen. And even at the end of the movie, it's not like he grows or changes enough as a person for me to go, oh, okay, I can see that. I literally, by the end of the movie, I still don't see him being this great leader.
So, any other issues to share?
Again, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I can, again, if I go through the movie, I could probably, go, okay, this was stupid, that didn't make sense, that wasn't. Like the scene with, again, really cool scene where the security guard is putting the money in the coffee machine and he gets a cup of coffee, and you see the T-1000, right? He was part of the floor, and then he slowly merges up. I go, okay, it's a cool scene, but why does it even exist? Like, why would he do that? He wouldn't. But the movie's going, we have this really cool idea. We don't care how stupid it is. We don't care how forced it is. We're going to put it in. And the people, again, it's like, cool factor, stupid. Okay, yes, it was incredibly cool, but it was still incredibly stupid and forced.
We can afford it. We'll do it. You didn't see that helicopter?
Yeah, the helicopter scene, right? Because like in the first Terminator movie, right? The Terminator goes to the guy in the truck, get out. And in Terminator 2, T-1000 goes into the helicopter and goes, get out. It's like, gee, where have I heard that before?
Uh-huh.
So, I got a few issues here and there. My first one, when the truck caught up to John, it should have killed John on the spot because of the weight on the bike, since it bumped it. That was early in the movie. The villain not being able to aim. Amazing. They cannot kill John, right? Sarah wanting to kill Arnold despite her reason. I think it's stupid. Yes, She doesn't trust it, but he's the reason why she's alive. And I was really bothered by it. I was like, you really want me to suspend disbelief so much? And yes, that was the build up because they wanted to give her some growth, and she got growth. But I think the seed for that character flaw really bothered me so much. That scene where she wanted to turn it off should have happened before it saved her or something. I don't know where they would have placed it, but it just felt wrong that she would be like, "You saved me? I will kill it."
Well, no, yeah. Again, it's not that he wanted to. Again, it's because that technology would eventually lead to Skynet. So it's not that she wanted to kill him. She wanted to kill the ability for Skynet to ever happen. And again, I understand that it's a little forced, but again, I put the character growth. It's at the end of the film where she goes, I like of all the people, I ended up trusting a machine. So again, you had to go through that forced aspect to be able to have it so that like to me, what I hated the most was as he's dying, he does that thumbs up as he goes on. Like that was just stupid as far as I was concerned. That made no sense whatsoever.
My last issue I had was Sarah is right to try to stop the war, but A, the plot wants the movie to last 2 hours and a half, so the son wants to stop her from killing the guy. I was like, they just want some kind of conflict there, and it didn't add up for me. It's like, okay, whatever. But that's just me. Now, enough negative. What would be things you liked, starting with Cole?
Well, again, with the time travel stuff, and yeah, it does obviously rehash like all those moments from the film. But those things aside, I do think like what everything it kind of did, outside of like a few things, maybe it did better than the first, in my opinion, and I really dug it. I really enjoyed the action stuff a lot more, the cinematography a lot more, the acting a lot more, and the some of the practical and stuff, effects a lot more. And the editing was definitely an improvement. And I do think the character arcs and what they go through is definitely a lot better because I do think that was kind of missing a bit in the first. So it was just like a bit empty there. But I think, that and the value of each human life and, the nature of violence, all those things that they touch on was, done a lot better in this film, than the first, which I think was a little bit flat at points or surface level when trying to do those things. And yeah, pretty much have, again, time travel, rehash and stuff, some stupid moments, and then some small nitpick stuff, are in this. But outside of that, yeah, those would be like my positives with it. And yeah, I think it's still an amazing film, personally.
I agree with you. Next, Chillmonger. What would be the things you liked in this second movie?
The new kid, John Connor. And I know they don't keep him, but this kid had so much spunk. He was such a problem child, and not what you would expect John Connor to be. Of course, he wasn't gonna be the military general. He's gotta be a problem kid. Like no one ever is a good straight and narrow. Follows his parents, doesn't smoke cigarettes.
Steve Rogers.
If they did Captain America Steve Rogers as a kid, even they would muck it up and they would make him some sort of like bad kid. And then it would say, this is actually, see right here when he turns 10, this moment defines him. Alcoholic dad, and then yeah, they wouldn't do it for Steve Rogers either. Nope. Every single time we go back in time to see this noble military guy, it's because he's troubled, or a football star or anything. They just go back in time. Man, was he a rebel? So he was a cool character.
Okay, anything else? Add as much as you want. You got the floor right now on the stuff you liked in the second one.
They upgraded the fighting scenes, the special things. It was there. budget met what James Cameron was trying to do, and he waited 5 years between movies. Was it 5 years? And it felt like it. Good job, good thinking. I think George Lucas did the same thing when he delayed his sequel trilogy, or rather his prequel trilogy. When we look up at the visuals, we notice it, and it's fine.
Yeah, so it was 7 years.
Was really 7 years between movies. Good,
Yeah.
good for them.
Yeah, that
Good
I
for
think
them for
that's
waiting.
even more sometimes.
Yeah. Now, so what was the difference between like Alien and Aliens release date? Because I know that was kind of big as well.
Huh? Y'all got the computers.
I don't know.
I'll say another positive from this movie.
Alien was 79. Aliens was
Okay,
87.
7 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
The guns in here, like when she's pointing, that one scene near the ending where she just points it, boom, points it, and then you can see it, blah, blah, blah. That looks so cool. Even though I do kind of have a problem with guns, and I guess in the 80s this wasn't a problem, or 90s. Now guns are so overused and so common, and the bulletproof and the the bad accuracy of people is so overused that I just roll my eyes at movies with guns. There's cliche. Chase scenes are cliche. Doesn't affect this movie because of the time it came out. But by now, I'm watching Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they're in San Francisco being chased, and I'm like, this is like not even the same. I've seen it so many times this year, a San Francisco car chase scene. It's overdone. But I'm not going to fault it here. I like the helicopter. I did. Good touch.
anything else you liked?
Good acting all around, even from Arnold.
He can act. We knew it.
Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah, and like he
Yeah,
obviously isn't like the greatest actor, but the way they sorry.
Then he tried to do Kindergarten Cop and Twins. So,
Oh
yeah.
god.
And then he tried to beat Mr. Freeze. So yeah, please. He's not
Yeah, don't bring up. Yeah, I
He's
think
not-
originally he was actually gonna be I believe like Batman at one point or something. Or
Hey,
Joker.
I love the Conan movie, but he was not a good actor. Okay, he wasn't.
Yeah, like he's not like a great actor or anything by any means, but if you put him in the right position and with things
Yeah,
around
where he
him,
doesn't
and,
talk.
well, just the right role, and also just make him rely on other people, and then like say his charismatic lines here and there, sort of like what they should do with Dwayne Johnson, except he's a lot worse than he can be good. Nothing more though.
Dwayne Johnson doesn't have an Austrian accent the way Arnold. He's so limited. He's like Gal Gadot, where you got to find a reason for why she speaks a little bit
Oh, yeah.
differently.
It's just incredible how a guy who can like even barely speak properly has just been this successful.
Oh, it's the movies he's been in. Again, it's
Yeah.
He was hired because of his muscle. Let's be honest. But
Well,
he did a good job in Terminator.
that's how we got the Conan the Barbarian, and that's what elevated him, and then
Yeah.
that's why he was able to get the Terminator movie because they wanted an imposing person. And again, he just got the right movies, and they just happened to end up being very successful, and that's what elevated. I mean, as much as everybody, again, I hate that Commando movie, but it worked for the type of character that he was.
And
Yeah.
he won the election.
And he married a
So-
Kennedy.
Jaded, what would be your likes?
Again, at that time, seeing the special effects, it was like people watching The Matrix for the first time. It was just amazing special effects. It was revolutionary. It was cutting edge. At that time, those special effects were cutting edge, and it was just jaw-dropping every time you saw the T-1000. I actually liked the character, like the actor who played the T-1000. He was great. Like I love that one. I can't remember the scene, but like he's shooting him, and then the police officer does this, and it's like it was so unnecessary, but it was so damn. It was like you got nothing. You got nothing. and it was just this inflection of this robot that shouldn't have it, but it still worked with the character. Like he was a really good actor, and he really helped elevate that role as because again with the first Terminator movie, all Arnold Schwarzenegger had to be was this unstoppable force where nothing will stop him. He will not stop, or all that stuff. Whereas with the T-1000, he actually had a little bit of a personality. He had a little bit of a character to him that wasn't overboard because it still worked within the confines of the robotic character, but it was very nice to see, and it worked. The adding of the doc, like, there was a lot of they added a lot of lore, which filled in the gaps of what was missing in the first movie. So it added more lore because it's like, how did they end up getting Skynet? And the second movie goes, oh, this is how Skynet ended up happening. And it was like, oh, that was cool lore. But again, a lot of it was forced, but you have to take the good with the bad. Again, the ending was, again, I like the idea that he had to sacrifice himself because, again, trying to make it a closed loop, but then, of course, you end up getting the third movie, but whatever. So it's like even the second movie tried to do a closed loop going, okay, we did. We got the second movie. We got out of our system. We got it. We're done. We're good. So I did like that part. Again, the idea of a closed loop, making it as not going out of their way to go, hey, we're leaving room for a sequel. But then, they just go, yeah, we'll just pretend that we lied and we're just going to make a sequel anyway.
More money. More money.
Well, yeah. Again, it became more successful than they anticipated. And
any other likes?
Again, I'd have to go back to the movie to see all the things that I liked. The Guns N' Roses thing was so ridiculous. I was never a fan of the Guns N' Roses band, but when he has the box of roses and then he pulls out the shotgun and it's like, oh my god, that is so corny, but it's funny and I get it. But it was just so. It was the equivalent of a fart joke as far as I was concerned, but it was still funny and I got it. It was funny.
Okay, so I guess I got the floor for now, except if you'd like to share more about things you enjoyed.
I understood what they were trying to do with the relationship between John and the Terminator, and seeing and a lot of it worked, a lot of it didn't work. Like when he tells the Terminator to stand on one leg and he goes, hey, help me, and those two guys show up. And then once he realizes that he's got the Terminator under control, he tells those two guys, screw you, get away from me. And then he goes, are you talking to moi? And then he hides behind, the Terminator when he says it. And then he goes to the Terminator, take out these dudes. There were some moments of his character that worked for what he was, but again, still an annoying character.
So I liked a lot the Arnold. I will call him Arnold because I can't remember the name of his version of the
100.
robot.
He's a T-100.
T-100?
Yeah.
Okay. I liked the action. It was very entertaining. The fight choreography was good. Sarah growth was amazing. I liked it, even if I didn't like the fact that she wanted to kill the T-100. I still like her character arc. It worked very well. And when they killed the Terminator, it felt earned because they had a huge struggle. Outside of that, there was a lot of emotion in the movie, and I won't add too much here because, as you can tell, my voice is not at its best. So, what would be your grade out of 10, Chillmonger?
7.
What about you, Cole?
Around like a 9. And when it comes to like sci-fi or sci-fi action films, and especially for like the general public, this is considered one of the best all time, which I don't totally agree with, but yeah.
Wait a minute. You're giving T2 a 9.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you give Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Like a 9 or a 10.
So you're kind of telling me that T2 is on par with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
This is why I hate number systems.
Yeah. I mean, they're completely different films. I mean,
Completely, not even close.
My grade would be 8.5 out of 10, which is 0.5 less than the first one. I still enjoyed it a lot. I found it very entertaining, despite my issues. I think that was a strong movie. Anyway, anything else any of you would like to share about T2 before we move on to T3?
It was a T800 Model 101.
Oh, what? Oh, so I always called it a T100. I don't know why.
yeah. I think I linked you a tweet about, in DMs the other day, multi-topic, but yeah, I believe this was like the most expensive film of all time at the time it was made.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I
Did it
can
profit?
tell they used
Oh,
that
wow.
budget well.
It did very well.
So, Terminator 3.
Yeah, this is when they should have stopped. This.
So, Jaded, did you got a chance to see the entire thing?
No, I didn't. I didn't even see the whole thing because the only thing I can remember about this movie was that Arnold Schwarzenegger. The movie wouldn't have been made unless Arnold Schwarzenegger actually gave money to help finance this film.
Wow.
I mean, that's how little. Like you can if you watch the you don't go from T2 because usually the idea is that as the movies progress, it goes it goes up a notch. It goes up a notch. The T3 was like a backslide down to such nothing. It was like I'm gonna go from T2 to T3 where there's hardly any special effects, hardly any of these groundbreaking special effects. Just some chick who's just walking around and like that, like some broad that like literally, I don't even understand. I can't even remember what her advancement was. That was superior to the T1000, but what again? It was just
her legs could turn around.
Yeah, it was like they tried to upgrade from the T1000, and I'm going, you can't. But they're trying to pretend that she was a superior version.
She was harder to kill. We gotta say that she was harder to kill.
Not really. I mean, the only reason they were able to kill the T1000 is because he fell into the vat of molten steel. If it wasn't for that, I mean, they kept trying to shoot him the entire movie, and it didn't do anything.
Yeah. So
I honestly don't even remember how it ends. I don't. I don't even know if I even saw the ending.
So Chillmonger, did you have the chance to see the entire movie, the third one?
I got to see it, and then I started this show, so I was like halfway into it. Unfortunately, I do remember it. I did see it like years back. It's creepy. It's bad. So the time skip to get Sarah Connor's son too old, and not use the same actor. I'm not for it. The not using Sarah Connor, I'm not for. Having coffins get shot at, I am not for. Like that's just weird stuff to see bullet holes on a. I don't care what the circumstances were, right? Like this is bizarre. I didn't like that they had the Terminator for a moment, like choking dude on the car. What is your mission? Like, I want everything we accomplished in 2 to move forward to 3. And like a hero, we can have obstacles, but don't let the heroes themselves or the good guys we're rooting for be against each other. Let's just have a unity and going forward.
Mhm.
Not everything needs civil war, before the Infinity War.
Okay. Any other issues?
It's like the second movie, the beginning and how you started off with. So it's a hard pill to swallow. Okay, we're not gonna have Sarah Connor here. So no. The big issues would be just the no continuity with the lead character.
Yeah. Another issue?
No.
Okay. What about you, Cole? What would be your issue? Don't hesitate to roast it if you feel the
No,
need to.
again, this is just
The acting sucked as well.
yeah. The acting was horrendous, and they didn't cover well for Arnold. They did in the first two, and this one they left him out in the open, and it showed. It felt like just a copy and paste of the plot line. Like again, in the second one, it did too, but it redeemed itself in my opinion because it was just an amazing made film and possibly better than the first in my opinion. So I forgave it, but this is just again copy paste. It's like what are we even doing? None of the characters were memorable. Nothing about the film in general is really memorable or easy to connect with. It just doesn't really like stand on its own two legs in this film. This entire film is just unnecessary. The action I didn't like. The visuals and direction, camera work is all ugly, and there seems to be a trend with some franchises like this and Predator and such, where after the first two or so films, then they get like random people. Yeah, they get like random people to direct it who's done like two okay films in their careers, and that's it. And
Well, they did music videos.
yeah, or that. And it really shows, especially who they got for the third film. It really shows because it doesn't seem like it has a soul or a purpose or like a direction and character and how it's filmed, and the visuals are just bland, sort of like Predator 2010. Really uninteresting film. That's really it. I don't have really anything else. It's just really forgettable, not memorable at all.
My first issue. It's the same plot as the first two, but this time around, it's nowhere near as good. Because I've already seen the same thing in the same franchise twice. Twice. Next up would be the chase scene started off nighttime and it went on during the day. Continuity issue is big for me. Don't tell me it lasted 9 hours. Just don't tell me that, man. Um, how did the cops found Connor in the Terminator? How did Arnold found Connor in the first place? At least there's an explanation on why the villain could find Connor. But the cops, the Terminator, and not well actually yeah. Arnold is not explained. The Terminator it is, but the cops just happen to know where they
I
are.
think the gas station saw the license plate as they were driving off, right? So the cops knew the license plate.
Hmm, maybe.
Were they
But
still
what
riding?
about Arnold? How did he knew?
I just have half the answer.
So it's an issue. Next up, if the villain is fast enough to catch up to a moving car, why the villain needed a truck earlier in the movie?
It's a blend in.
Plot armor on John. He is sent flying by Arnold, and he can still move instead of like being tripled and like being a rampant. Yeah, these are my issues. I think the writing kind of sucks. Things happen because the plot wants them to happen, and it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So What would be the things you liked, starting with Jaded?
Nothing. I didn't like anything about the movie. It was a waste. It was the. I think the best thing that the movie wanted to try and do was make it into a trilogy so that they could kind of, again, for the third time, try to close the loop. But again, you ended up getting a Terminator 4, so that was irrelevant too. So stop trying to end the movie or stop trying to close the loop and then just ignoring it anyways. Yeah, there was nothing. And like I said, like you said, or like Chillmonger said, or even you did, it's the same movie over. It's the same as the first two movies, but at least the second movie had these incredible special effects to make up for it. This third movie didn't even. Yeah, it didn't even try. It just goes, yeah, we'll just throw something together and see what happens.
Well, if you're calling the acting bad and robotic, I could tell you that that's actually good. You see, she's nothing but a plastic robot. That's all she is. She is a Barbie robot destructing this.
Again, but even in the second movie, the T-1000 was also a robot, and it had more character and more life than it should have, and it still worked. So you can do. The movie did show that you can do that.
He was cold. The second movie was Robert Patrick. He was cold.
Yeah, Robert Patrick. Yeah.
Whew, that man, his eyes. He did better than the first Terminator.
Yeah, he was great. So they did establish you can do that, and they tried to do it with her in the third movie, and she was just a pain in the ass.
The decision to go female, though, I could support that just because it's your third go around. Let's try something new and different. So instead of a big muscular man, it's something different. And at the end of the day, it's still going to turn into an exoskeleton at the ending of the movie, and it's a robot, right? It was repeat.
Yeah, that's true. I'm with you. Like, I don't care about whether it's a man or a woman. It's a machine anyway. It's just looks, and it's just an actor. But let's be honest, the actress wasn't that great. Like, robot must act like robot, but it must also have some kind of charisma. Otherwise, you're like, I don't care. Am I right?
Well, yeah, because even in the first movie, Arnold had some charisma. It was still establishing the personality and characteristics of a Terminator.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to the third movie, it's like, okay, we know how Terminators work. You didn't add anything. You're literally taking away. So yeah, there was nothing for me. There was nothing good about that movie.
Yeah.
What about you, Chillmonger?
Yeah, I'm sort of with you, jaded fanboy. That it's kind of lame. Bad movie, sure. I'm with you. Yeah, support all that, 100%.
What about you, Cole? What would be the things you liked?
Nothing really. Like, again, there are just some films that, like, I don't think this is like a completely garbage film or anything, but from start to finish, like, it doesn't really do anything good. Like, even if it's not like a terrible film, it's still like from start to finish just a bad, pointless film. I mean, there are some things, I guess, that I kind of like they did. Like, I guess the script writing wasn't bad. It wasn't the worst. It gave us some cool character moments, and the editing wasn't terrible, I guess. Even though the action scenes were disappointing, but there are a few moments like the crane scene.
Yeah, the biggest action scene in that movie was with a fire truck. That was the big scene in the movie, and I'm going, that's what you're giving me?
Yeah, and I will say the story, we already talked about it. I will say at least they didn't give us a happy ending for the third time in a row, and I do kind of like the dark ending they tried going with. I do think in a better film or in the first or second Terminator, it could have worked extremely well, but
I will admit I also like the ending. I think the movie overall was entertaining, I guess. It wasn't a good movie, but it was entertaining. It had action.
It wasn't terrible, at least, it wasn't.
I like your answers. The editing was okay, I guess. The movie was
Not
it
really.
wasn't
No,
Cocaine Bear.
Cole. Did you forgot my continuity issues where, like, the chase scene started nighttime and ended
Yeah, that
daytime?
was yeah.
Don't tell me anything is good after that.
Well, again, no, there's bad edits. What I'm saying though is, like, again, there's more. I would say that's also mainly like a post production and like director issue as well, like the continuity issues in the editing like that. But I think like other points in the editing, like when it comes to like certain scenes and like giving them like character through the editing, I do think it did a better job than like the first film actually. But of course, there's continuity issues. Let's leave that. We can talk about. I will say. Oh, sorry. Go.
You go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. This isn't as bad as Cocaine Bear, though.
Look, I was just on the cast and crew, and they're listing the director, the writer. There's like 5 writers here. Share this screen that I just put up. It's not James Cameron. I don't see James Cameron here, and this is the writer.
It might have been a producer, I think.
Another writer. Who was the producers? Mario, Hal, Joel, Andrew. He had nothing. He wasn't composing it, cinematography. He didn't even edit the movie. He just said, keep me out of this cash grab 12 years later.
What's hilarious is how many people were involved for one movie that wasn't even good. Like, bro, too many cook in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I want to go back to Cole going, this was worse. This wasn't as bad as Cocaine Bear. I mean, you had a problem.
Yeah, Cocaine Bear is an awful movie.
Yeah.
It was supposed. Okay, that was done on purpose.
Bruh.
No.
It never once tried to take itself seriously.
No, but even as a film that doesn't take itself seriously and is supposed to be a meme, sort of like a meme film you laugh at, even then it was just horrible because it was just made so generically. Like there was nothing like
redeeming about it.
Give it to like like you look at like other meme films or sort of joke films, and there's a lot of like character and like funniness and like how it's like made and a lot of creative stuff. With Cocaine Bear, there's maybe like one point in the entire film where it actually embraces itself. Like fucking Willy's Wonderland does a better job at being a meme film.
I will agree.
Like Cocaine Bear is literally nothing with any of that, and then you look at obviously how it's made and acted and all that, and it's garbage. So it's like it's because of, Elizabeth Banks did it. She's garbage. Like let like Phil Lord and Christopher Miller were the producers of it. Let them direct it instead, and it would be 1,000 times better and with way more creative stuff while embracing itself a lot more.
Okay.
Just is my opinion, though, but
And and disclaimer, realize that Cole actually thinks A24 movies are good. So
they are peak cinema.
Take his opinions on movies with a grain of salt.
They're peak cinema. What do you mean?
Ooh, I, Robot is a great movie by Will Smith.
So Jaded, there was a question in the chat for you. Is the Silver Surfer a T1000?
What?
It's a Rad, Norin Rad 1000.
I just wanted to address that. That was on the chat.
No, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is that I saw an all silver character on a screen. Even if it was for only 2 seconds, I go, you have no justification for not having a Silver Surfer movie now.
Yeah. Do you think he could be a T1000 in another universe?
No. There's something called the cosmic power.
So, what would be your grade out of 10, Chillmonger?
Isn't it called the Power Cosmic?
What would I say?
He said Cosmic Power.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Power Cosmic.
Man, you fake fan. All right. So the question is,
I'm a fake fan. Yeah.
3, I think 3, because it still had that moment when he was Arnold runs over, sacrifices himself to being crushed, and we can go, oh yeah, this is one of the ways he can die. So it did have a moment of sacrifice. So I mean, I still didn't care about the characters he was saving, really, but still, 3 out of 10.
Okay, I like your grade. Very fitting. What about you, Cole?
3.5.
Oh my, I will feel too generous. I actually gave a 6 because I
I
have
mean, for
issues.
you, that's mediocre, and
Yeah,
that's not far
yeah.
off from me though, because a
Yeah.
3.5 to 4 out of 10 is around what I would give it, which is also kind of mediocre.
Yeah. Like for me, it's not awful. It wasn't good, but it wasn't awful either for me. But that's just me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, don't worry. We'll get into the even more awful films. With the
yeah,
fourth and fifth. The fourth and fifth. Now those are, yeah.
fifth, I actually forgot what were my overall thought. I will need my notes, but I
It's
remember six being something else.
yeah. I mean, six definitely kind of bad as well, but I did actually enjoy it over others because the sequels are, besides the first one, is in this franchise is really that low. But I mean, yeah, when we get to the fifth, and again, it's by the guy who directed Thor: The Dark World, so that should tell you something.
So, time for Terminator Salvation. If you guys are ready for that.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my! I just
I
the,
can't.
the
I gotta
looks.
leave. I didn't watch Terminator Salvation.
Have
Uh,
you seen the other two?
I haven't seen Sarah Chronicles. I haven't seen anything Terminator after that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you wanted, was
You didn't
there
miss
any? Oh, sorry. Well, was there any other topic that we might discuss later on that you possibly have seen? Like we are
Unless
doing
you're talking Jonathan Majors, no.
we're doing the
I don't want-
Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights
Jonathan who?
finales. Oh my god.
No, not Superman, Lois, Gotham Knights, or Arrow, or Black Lightning.
What about Black Mirror season 1?
Neither that. No,
Well,
sorry.
wow, you really need to watch Black Mirror.
I mean,
Yeah.
Secret Invasion is taking care of me right now.
God. Oh yeah, I forgot that show exists.
Subscribe
So,
to Chillmonger. Jonathan Majors is innocent. Recast T'Challa.
Yeah,
what's going on your channel right now, Shamonger?
Well, as you know,
He just did it. He
I know
just
it, but maybe the viewer don't.
no, I'll add something else. If you become a chill member, you can watch me reacting to the 21 Questions 50 Cent song. In the music video, Megan Good plays the love interest. And every question 50 Cent asks Megan Good in that, I'm going to answer if she feels that way about Jonathan Majors. So that's special. Behind a
I like
paywall.
that video, by the way. It was fun.
I appreciate your liking and the support. So if you want to be like multi-topic talk, become a chill member today. And subscribe and stay up to date for your Jonathan Majors news because I am not. And I do Black Panther. Whenever the new comic comes out, I think it's a week from now, I'll review that and have extensive coverage on that. But right now, my identity and where the bread and butter is Jonathan Majors updates.
Okay, man. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed having you. As usual, you're amazing. Thank you very much, man. Have a good one and take care. So, time for salvation. Did it salvage anything?
Yeah. I don't know if Jaded's seen it, but yeah, I mean, I guess. Oh boy, so Salvation.
hold on. That's the one with Christian Bale, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing that I can even remember that I liked about that movie was there's this one scene where he's riding a motorcycle and he slides it down, goes underneath the truck. That was it. That's all I can remember that I liked about that movie. I don't even remember how it ends. I don't remember anything about that movie.
Yeah. I mean, with this film, so this was directed by McG, I guess. And yeah, if you don't know, again, with a name like that, yeah, he was.
Hold on. McG did do a TV show with a bunch of cops, 2 cops, and the girl from Saved by the Bell. What was it called?
TV show. Oh, Fastlane.
Fastlane. I loved that show.
Yeah.
It was so.
Oh, yeah.
McG did do some good things.
No. He did. Like, I'll explain Jaded. Like, here's the thing. Like, he isn't like obviously like really a talented or skilled director, but he does have like a wacky, style that was very like MTV such, I'm coming from like the music.
That's why I said some directors who started off doing music videos, because that's what McGee did. He literally started off. He went from music videos to movies.
Yeah, and with Fastlane, and so yeah, he did Fastlane, and then he did the Charlie's Angels films. And honestly, you know what? For their time and for the director he is and what they're trying to go for in his style, they worked overall.
And that show didn't get canceled because of bad ratings. It got canceled because it was one of the most expensive shows at the time.
All right, yeah, and then also he did We Are Marshall, which was all right, and other things that were all right, I guess, and then some things that were bad. He's done like the Babysitter films recently. I don't know, but anyway, so it's 2000, in 2009 though, I guess, and then after the failure of the third, they were like, okay, maybe that type of style and the type of director he is, it could work for like a Terminator film and with the story we're telling. So let's hire him, and he can do Salvation. It didn't work. I can say that much. It was pretty terrible. I thought there were like a few moments in this entire film that I kind of enjoyed, but that's about it. It's incredible that they made Christian Bale that bad looking of an actor. Also, Bryce Dallas Howard is in it, I guess, and also Sam Warrington. Again, in like the fucking 2008 to 2012, this guy just randomly came out of nowhere and was in like every sort of film like this and Avatar and Clash of the Titans during that time period, and then kind of just like vanished after that, and then reappeared as like a supporting actor in some films, and then back again for Avatar 2. So kind of weird, but yeah. So he was in this as well. Yeah, he was pretty bad in it. And yeah, there's not really much I like about it. It's just a really it's difficult actually to I do think the one that comes after this is a lot worse, but yeah, this is a really sloppy film though. It is just really editing wise, filmmaking wise, acting wise, pretty story wise, pretty much everything is just the definition of sloppy to me, and nothing about it really works for me. And it's all kind of ugly as well, and I hate the CGI in it. Everything that I loved about the films just is gone in this. It isn't like the worst thing ever, and it isn't the worst in the franchise, but yeah, it's pretty out there to say the least. Anyway, it pretty much said everything, so you guys can go now.
That one was bad.
Oh yeah.
Now, as a side note, before I get into my issues, I am glad to say this movie feels very different than the other three. It needed to do something new, and they did. I was complaining about the first three being like the same shit. Here, they tried to do something else, and I liked it. We need more of that, Now, this is a side note. It's not something I liked because I don't think it was well done. But yeah, that's how I see it. Now, here are my issues. Plot armor on John during the fight versus the machine right after his copter crashed. He got sent flying and he could still move. The robot not being able to aim. Plot armor on the guy that got crushed by the giant and yet he survived. They can't aim again. The lightning is bad on most of the movie. It's freaking dark for no reason. The fact that the machine kept Cal alive that long doesn't make any sense. The fact that the machine tried to kill Cal in a very complicated ways is also very stupid. Plot armor on John is crazy. Writing sucks. I guess one thing I liked would be how John wasn't accepted by everyone. That felt realistic, and that's one good thing, you know? But there's not that many good things about this movie. The action is entertaining when there's something going on. The music is fine. Setting up trap is cool. The action, here again. Fight choreography in nighttime. Even if the lightning was shit, the fight was cool. The girl escaping with the robots. John Connor questioning the machine to learn the truth. Marcus self-sacrifice at the very end. And that's it. I don't have much more to say.
Yeah, I
So,
gotta head out soon, guys.
okay, have a good one, Jaded. Take care.
To narrow it down, I don't even remember Terminator 5. I don't even think I saw it.
It's the one with Emilia Clarke or whatever.
I mean, I did a quick view on the trailer. I don't even remember this.
Again, the newest one.
And then the last one, I think I made a video on it, and I'm trying to hold on a second. I think
The
I made
last
it.
one is awful. It's one of the
I
worst
think
movies
I
I've
made a
seen.
video talking about it, but I can't remember. Because again, it was just unforgettable. Like they were unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because the problem with a lot of these movies. The thing about number 4 was, okay, it's going to be during the time of the rise of the Terminators. Great idea. But if you're going to do that, you better have a hell of a story, because there's just so much buildup on that type of a story, especially of all the movie franchises. What was happening during the uprising of the machines, and it was just a nothing story, and it was like, this was such a disappointment. And then after that, again, I had no idea where they were going. I didn't even care. But yeah,
Okay.
and then I remember the 5th one. It was a bunch of stupid in it, but I can't even. I think I made a video talking about it, but I can't even remember because.
Yeah. So you liked it that much, hey?
That's impressive. Anyway,
Anyway.
I've just seen your message, man. Take care. Thank you very much. Is there anything going on your channel?
That's the thing. There's this. The problem that I have with making my videos now is that I'm just tired of dealing with this 10-foot wall thick of ignorance that is necessary to actually be part of the comic book.
I mean, did you do the Flash video yet?
No, because I start off and it's like, why am I even bothering? Nobody cares.
Listen,
Nobody
just
cares.
do that. That's very anticipated.
You've got so many people. There are so many things I want to cover about the Flash movie and the thing about the Indiana Jones. But the problem is that what I want to talk about, nobody cares about, right? Because I made a tweet, right, where I go, how did we go from Netflix and chill to Disney Plus and bitch? Because that's all everybody's doing. It's don't actually point out the problems with the movie. Just bitch about it, because that's all your audience wants to hear. And it's like considering how few people watch the Flash movie, it's amazing how so many people consider it bad. I go, really? Did you see the movie? No. Well, then how the hell do you know it sucks? Well, because other people have told me. Well, but there are other people that are saying that this was one of the greatest superhero movies ever. Why don't you believe them? And it's like, well, because it sucks. And it's like, but you didn't see the movie.
Yeah. I mean, listen, make the video. It's very anticipated. Definitely on that and Indiana Jones. So that hopefully is coming.
Same thing with Indiana Jones. Everybody's bitching about, they're trying to replace Indiana Jones. Hey, morons! That's what they were trying to do with the Crystal Skull. You guys all remember Shia LaBeouf's character? The whole point of Shia LaBeouf's character was to be the new Indiana Jones. And it's like, oh no, this Indiana Jones is going to destroy the legacy. Bitch! What happened? The Crystal Skull was so hated that South Park had a cartoon showing George Lucas and that other moron raping Indiana Jones over but again, all of these bullshit artists who are going, oh, let's bitch about this movie, somehow forgot how bad the Crystal Skull was and how reviled it was. No. This is the movie that's going to end it. We all expected the Crystal Skull to destroy. The Crystal Skull destroyed the Indiana Jones IP. Destroyed it.
Yeah, when it was already destroyed with it.
It was way destroyed. And then when we were told that when it was first announced that they were going to do a fifth Indiana Jones movie, people were going, "What are you talking about? You cannot possibly redeem yourself." But the memory of these, because again, the level of ignorance that is necessary for these so-called fanboys to actually make their videos and their comments, that you literally have to forget what actually happened so that you can spout your bullshit. That's what I want to talk about. But nobody wants to hear that because nobody wants to be told how full of shit they are.
Yeah, well, I will say, I mean, both of them are garbage. I've seen the news one, but
I'm not defending the movie. I'm
just saying with your thing though, Jaded. Now, obviously, if other people might be different, but I would say I think with most people though, the big thing was the Crystal Skull was bad, and yeah, they didn't want to make any others. I think their goal though was to not just like do that and then hand over the reign with Shia LaBeouf, but make even more with both of them, and maybe then by like around like the 7th or so movie, and then when he's too old, then you can give the reins over to him. Well, with this one,
too old in the Crystal Skull.
But still, they were planning to make more with them, and then later on, when he gets too old, then pass the rein down. So like 3 or 4 movies in, and not really just like taking the spot, but more like coexisting. Well, in this one, it's literally just like one film. Here you go, throws the keys.
Right. I understand that, Cole. But take the third movie with his father. The guy that played James Bond. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Oh, Daniel Craig.
No, in the third movie. The actor that was in the third movie.
Sean Connery.
Okay, Sean Connery in that movie was in his 80s. Did he do a lot of moving around? No. Why? Because the actor's 80 years old. Did anybody go, oh my God, his character was so weak and didn't do anything? No, because the actor's 80 years old. And we're going, well, of course he's not going to be moving around. He's 80 years old. But for some reason, because it's Indiana Jones, when oh shoot, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on all the actors' names. The actor for Indiana Jones.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford's in his 80s, but for some brain dead reason, you guys are all going, well, why is he not moving around? Why is he acting like an old man? Well, I don't know. Maybe because he's in his goddamn 80s, you idiots.
Yeah, they're like, why isn't he moving around, like the originals or in Blade Runner?
Why isn't he moving around like when he was 40 years old or 35 years old? I don't understand.
I'm moving around like he's doing Blade Runner again.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the level of ignorance that is necessary to make the comments and the videos that people make. And it's like, I want to combat that because it's just so much bullshit. But, and so again, the idea of my videos is to point out the stupid in the movies that you all love and enjoy. But if you all hate the movie, there's nothing to point out. You already hate the movie. I want to point out the stuff that you like, the movies that you like, and explain how full of stupid they are.
Listen, think of it like this, Jade, and more so, again, not for other people, just your own personal, vlog thing, so it's at least there on the internet because nobody else is talking about it in your eyes.
Of course not.
Yeah, but anyway, just do it. We're all
Which is why I don't have any subscribers, because I'm telling people that they're that they're morons, and for some reason people hate it when you point out that they're morons and you call them out on it. I don't understand why.
Just do it. We're all anticipating for it. Just do it.
I'm looking forward for it, for real.
Yeah,
I want to see you roll through this shit.
But again, that's the problem, is that I'll only use it as a springboard to trash all of the morons trashing the movie. because again, it's like the level of bullshit that is necessary to I can't, and to me it's like, you know what, this is the internet that you want, this is the social media platform that you want, this is what you want from movie reviews, then you know what, screw you, I don't give a shit, because I used to actually, the reason I used to do these videos and the reason I had so much passion was because I actually, believe it or not, I love comic book movies. I want comic book movies to be good. So the reason I would rant was because I was anticipating and hoping that they would be good. And then when you get this brain dead garbage, I would get upset. Now, there's no expectation of my expectation in going into these movies is they're going to suck shit. That's my expectation. So if my expectation is it's going to be a brain dead bullshit mess of stupid, how am I supposed to get upset over it? Because it's going, well, yeah, I knew it was going to be full of shit, and it was full of shit. So there's nothing to get mad over. The only thing I'm getting mad over is the bullshit of these YouTubers pretending that they actually care and they know what they're talking about. I have to get mad at the movie. I'm not mad at the movie because, oh my God, who the hell anticipated that? Who the hell didn't expect this movie, Dial of Destiny, to not suck? Who went into it not expecting it to suck? Nobody. Anyway.
Yeah.
Have a good one, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. As
No
usual,
problem.
we will have you on in the future for sure. I like having you a lot around.
Yeah, again, like we should just like send him like the weekly schedules, and then if there's anything he's interested in, then like next week we're starting with the Star Wars films. We're gonna watch all the live action ones and the one Clone Wars film, and that's including the Christmas special and the Ewok films.
Hey, no matter how much everybody trashes the Christmas special, which again, I am one of them. It had an animated Boba Fett storyline that explained what happened after the.
Yeah, and he has like every copy of the Christmas special.
No, I used to, but I actually have a 4th generation copy of it, which was it's a big deal because getting anything better than a 4th generation copy is incredibly rare, especially by the time I got it. So I'm proud of the fact that I have a 4th. I think it's a 4th or 3rd generation. I can't remember.
Yeah, you found it in like the dumpster out back, 30
No,
years.
I paid some serious money for that.
Yeah, just like the poster you have, the original poster.
Well, yeah, because again, I love the original 3 movies.
Yeah, you want to tell the story quickly with how you got that poster from that guy?
Okay. Quick story. Sorry to derail the topic. I was at a comic book convention when they used to sell comic books. Okay, and one of the vendors there was selling movie posters, and he had the original Star Wars poster. Now, because I had known about all the fakes, I had learned about how to tell the difference between a reproduction and what the original one and the reproductions have little things that you can check to see. And I noticed that it was an actual original. So I had asked him how much he wanted for it. I think he wanted like $100 or $150.
Yeah, like 100.
Nothing big. And I'm going, oh my God, are you kidding me? And but the thing is that I had already bought I had bought comic books at a comic book convention. So I didn't have enough money left to be able to buy it. So I said, give me your card and I'll come to your store and I'll buy it. I ended up, like a week later, I ended up going into a shop and I go, do you remember me? And he goes, no, I explained how I was. I go, yeah, I'm here to buy Star Wars poster. And he was actually shocked because he goes, I've had hundreds of people tell me that they want to buy it. You're the first person to actually come and buy it. And he was disappointed. And he didn't actually want to sell it to me because that was the store's prize poster. right? That's what drove people into the store to see the actual live poster. Because I bought it from him, he didn't have his star poster anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's also the stories where you had that jacket where besides one person, you had like every actor from Star Trek or whatever. Like,
no, the only one I didn't have was James Doheny, Scotty, because the guy actually died before. The guy had the nerve to die before I could. I was so pissed.
Yeah, and also I have to. I need a refresher. Jaded, was that Quentin Tarantino joke you told? Was it true, or was it just a joke where you said where you said, I forgot if it was actually a true story or a joke, but it's like he walked up like you're saying he would walk up like a fanboy, like, oh, can I sign it? That's so cool because it's Star Trek, and then you'd be like, maybe if you stop making movies at Reservoir Dogs.
Oh yeah, like Quentin Tarantino. I got to meet Quentin Tarantino, and he wanted to sign my jacket, and I go, not after. Again, if it was after Reservoir Dogs, 100%, 100%. But again, this was after Kill Bill and all of his stupid ass movies. Again, there's only one Quentin Tarantino film that I've ever liked, and that was Reservoir Dogs. That was it.
I have never met a single person other than Jaded who would deny Quentin Tarantino signing something of theirs.
No. Again, if it was before, because I forget what he did after Reservoir Dogs.
It was like, I don't know if it was Pulp Fiction right after.
Yeah, see, I wasn't a fan of Pulp Fiction either. I didn't like Pulp Fiction. I thought it was, again, I liked the idea of the segments of the stories. And I like how they kind of interconnected. Now, didn't he also do that vampire movie?
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn, True Romance, Jackie Brown, I believe, the Kill Bill films. Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I guess. Death Proof.
Yeah, Death Proof. The one with the one where the guy from The Thing was the bad guy and with a bunch of chicks with a car.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, you didn't like The Hateful Eight. I thought that was good.
No, I didn't like The Hateful Eight either. The only thing about The Hateful Eight that I actually liked was finding out that again, I forget the name. The guy that was in The Thing, the actor that was in The Thing.
Oh, I know you're talking about. It was
Big Trouble in Little China.
Like Kurt Russell or something.
Kurt Russell. There's a scene in the movie where Kurt Russell smashes the guitar. The thing is that was an actual authentic 1800 guitar that was borrowed from a museum.
Oh my God!
So didn't know that because again they had the original one and they had a prop. The prop was the one that Kurt Russell's character was supposed to smash. He didn't know that. He ended up smashing the actual original one. There's like a video or something of the guy who was the curator. He literally was in shock. I think it was a she or whatever. And she was like, tell me that's the prop. And it's like, what prop? And the prop was right there. They freaked.
Oh my God.
I don't know how much it was. I think it was like $30,000 or $40,000 guitar that Kurt Russell actually
that is legendary.
Because I think there's a scene in the movie where the girl reacts in shock. That's actual shock because the female actress actually knew that was the original guitar that he was smashing. So when you see that look of shock on her face, that's not her acting. That's her actual reaction.
Man, that's why I liked it so much, her performance.
her reaction was like, I think he just broke the $30,000 guitar.
I mean, they shot like the Shannon Tatum scene where he just gets shot like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so anyway, with that long rant though, so yeah, we will be doing Star Wars next week,
The first three movies are the only ones worth watching.
Yeah, but we're doing the first three, the Christmas special, and the first Ewok film, and then the next week.
That was a piece of shit. I hated
but we're covering it, and then the next week it's the other Ewok film and the prequels, and then the sequels.
There is no Ewok movie. There is no Ewok movie.
Yeah.
So I will send you the schedule we will have for the next few weeks, and I will also send you the link because we like having you around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Have
I
a
mean,
good night,
have you
man.
never
Take
seen
care.
Black Mirror?
No, again, I've stopped watching a lot of TV shows. The only TV shows I even gave a damn about were the MCU ones and the superhero. Like I've watched almost every superhero movie, TV show. I've seen at least one episode or two or three episodes of almost every superhero TV show, but hardly any of them have made it past episode 3.
Yeah.
So
And what was
I
that one you
just
talked
not
about, like the greatest superhero TV show in the 70s or something?
like I even saw The Greatest American Hero.
Oh yeah,
used to-
that was the name of it, right? The
I used
greatest.
to watch The Greatest American Hero because it was the closest thing. Like I used to even watch the Hulk, TV show because that was I watched the old Shazam live action TV show because
What about
again
the
the
Superman
option
50s one?
I watched the live action Spider-Man TV movie because again back then those were your options. I saw the 80s live action Captain America movie
The
with
50s
garbage.
Superman one.
Yeah, I've seen
Didn't that guy like commit suicide a year after wrapping up on the Superman TV show in the 50s because he hated the role?
I don't know if it's because he hated the role. I think it's because he was suffering from
The depression, but I think that caused it though even more.
I think it was because of the fame. I think it was because of the fame and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that and also a little silliness there, and then I think that's why a lot of people were upset when they put him in the Flash as a thing.
One of the things about the 1950s live action Superman TV show that always got me, that I always used to laugh about, is there was the scene where a thug would shoot Superman, and Superman would just stand there, right? And they had the little corny special effects of the bullets flying. Except here's the thing: the thug would throw the gun at Superman, and Superman dodged the gun. And it's like, why would Superman dodge the gun when it should just bounce off him? But because it was a real person, he did. George Reeves didn't want to get hit by the prop, so he's just standing there getting shot, no problem. But you throw a gun at him, oh no, that's too much for Superman.
Anyway, thank you very much, man.
No problem.
Have a good one.
See ya.
So, closing thoughts on Terminator 4.
Yeah, pretty terrible. But I mean, it is. For me, it's the second worst in the franchise, not the worst. So, and yeah. Again, also if your voice gets really bad again, we can quickly go through the
that's fine. I will power through.
Yeah, I mean, I had to for like 3 weeks one time. So,
so what would be your grade out of 10?
This is like a 2.5.
Oh, for me, this is a 5.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly worse than the previous one.
Right.
So I guess we
so
move
incredible
to
these
Genisys.
stories with Jade. I'm sorry, if I find another person on the planet who said no to Quentin Tarantino's signature, I will die. Like only Jaded would do that in real life. Anyway, yeah, Terminator 5, fucking hell, Genisys or whatever. Yeah, this was fucking. This for me is the worst one in the franchise. This was just. And again, it's by Alan Taylor. This guy did. Now he did some like low budget films in the past that were like whatever, they were decent, I guess. And then he did Thor: The Dark World, which was terrible and is like the worst MCU film ever, besides like Eternals. And then he did this 2 years later, which is also terrible. And then also I will say, years later, I think, yeah, he got to work on some like episodes or something involving some TV shows like The Sopranos that he actually did do a good job with, though. And then years later, like 6 years after Terminator Genisys, he then made a prequel type film of The Sopranos, which is like one of the highest rated shows ever, called The Many Saints of Newark, which came out in 2021. And it wasn't too bad, actually. It was all right. It was solid. It had some good aspects. So, yeah, maybe he's improving. I don't know. But, yeah, these I don't even know how this guy, like, because God, he just had like no resume, and he just went in there and got to make these two films, and they were both just fucking terrible. And yeah, Terminator Genisys might actually be worse than The Dark World. The Dark World, I have more redeeming aspects with. This, yeah, I honestly, this isn't like a 1 out of 10 film. Like that's what I'll say. This isn't like a 1 out of 10 film, as in, yeah, as in I don't think there's enough like garbage about it, to give it that rate. And I do think there's enough like things in it that are not completely garbage and more so just decent or bad, where it keeps it above like a 1 out of 10 rating. But fucking hell, it. But at the same time, there's really not like a single positive I have for this film. This is just a complete dumpster fire. Uh, I will. Some of the actors did their best. Emilia Clarke did her best, I guess, but she was bad, and she was still finding her footing at the time in films after while doing Game of Thrones. And Jai Courtney, I actually kind of like. Again, Jai Courtney, this weird actor in a lot of bad stuff, but I actually kind of like him the most in all that bad stuff. Like, he was the only person in all of Suicide Squad 2016 that I liked. He was pretty good in other films like that. It was the only person I liked in those shitty Insurgent and Divergent films. He was my favorite part of Jack Reacher. He's my favorite part of this. So, that's. But anyway, J.K. Simmons was in it, but he was kind of just like sleeping through this. He was just there for the paycheck, I guess. This was a year after Whiplash, so he's just like, I'm getting my paycheck now. I put in my work, got an Oscar. Now just let me get some of that cash. Oh boy. And yeah, the lighting is horrendous. The direction is horrendous. The visuals are horrendous. The story and writing is horrendous. Sound design is horrendous. It's all just fucking horrendous. I is there anything else that is like somewhat decent about this film? Let me see.
Lots of action.
I guess, but it's all shit action with shit CGI. It looks like that like type of CGI you would see in the Matrix sequels, where it looks like an actual like bad video game. And then yeah, the story makes like little sense. They tried to develop it for way too long and it failed. Plot is confusing as hell. I just kept thinking to myself, what the hell is even going on throughout this entire film? I feel like if this just had a decent story, there's more things about this that could have been redeemed. But yeah, it's just, I don't even. Also, the threat and villain and everything in this film, it wasn't threatening at all. That's another thing.
I agree. 100%.
Yep, and the explanation they gave, the explanation sequence, it canceled out prequel movies. Yeah, it's just fucking hell. Is there anything? Nope. I guess that's it. All I'll say is, yeah, there's enough things sort of about it that were kind of entertaining. Where yeah, it isn't garbage. It isn't completely garbage, but it's close to it. Anyway, that's all. I'll let you go now.
Okay, roasting time. It's not explained how Sarah found the guys in the store. Liquid guy can aim. The guy being able to touch a cable without being electrocuted. He had many chances to kill his parents, but he didn't. Same plots as the first three. Very convenient that killing John would solve everything. Wow. These are my issues. I guess I enjoyed the lore. Fight choreography was fine. I like the change they did. Funny, I guess. Um, so yeah, flashbacks were fine, I guess. Pops was cool as usual. Music was fine. The action was fine, but that's it. For me, that's a 6.5, slightly better than um, the third one, I believe. Yeah, slightly better. The bar is not that high. What about you?
Uh, 2 out of 10.
Okay, let's talk about what I consider the most, the worst, the awful, the mistake, dark fate.
I mean, look again. This is really bad, but I wouldn't consider it the worst. I do think the two prior to this are worse, and that isn't. That's more to say just that's how bad the sequels in this franchise are. Instead of the film having really many redeeming aspects, but I don't think it's the worst. I think this is like the third worst. But yeah, acting pretty piss poor, but there were a couple of good actors, I guess. It was kind of cool seeing her return, but didn't really do much with it. CGI is a mess, but there were moments with the CGI where they do sort of like kind of interesting stuff, but it wasn't for much of the film. Action also 50-50, a lot of shit action at points, but then some decent action at other points. The story was confusing as hell and a kind of a mess, but there were good points in the story. Uh, you know, and when they weren't being so overly, political. Uh, but writing, like character script writing, was not the worst thing ever, I guess, but it wasn't good either. Uh, Sound design abysmal. Editing not as bad as other ones in the franchise, I guess, but still not good. Uh, yep, just a bad film, but not the worst, I guess. So I really have to say. Uh, what about you?
So I got a side note, so this won't affect my score, but more like my thought process on what I was seeing happening in the movie. So as I will repeat, this side note didn't affect at all the quality of the movie. It's more what I think they were trying to do with some of the hidden message they had in the movie. So that's why I won't take away any points. It's because it's a side note. It's not really an issue. It's still something I'd like to share. They really want in this movie, and I have two solid examples. They really want to destroy gender construct. First example, the girl from the future taking the man's clothes because they really wanted you to let you know, yeah, she grabbed the man's clothes. Okay, that's them trying to destroy the gender construct. And then number two, um, the main character is not a hero because she's a mother. No, motherhood is not well accepted by progressive people. It's something from the past for a lot of progressive people. So now the reason why she saves everyone, it's not because her child or anything, is the reason why everyone will fight the machine. No, it's because she gave a speech. It's because she is the example to follow. Be like her. Don't have child. Be like her. So these are the side notes. As I said, this will not affect the score. Otherwise, I will sound like these NTSTW stupid people, and I don't want to sound like them. I have genuine issue with the movie, and this is what I will share from now on. First issue, the Terminator only killing John and not Sarah felt off. I know later in the movie they explain, oh, that's the objective, but it still feels off. Like, they don't have a code. They see someone that bothers them, they just kill them. That's it. So even if they try to explain why the Terminator didn't kill Sarah, I didn't buy it. Next up, the fact that the Terminator could kill John Connor felt off since there was no ally, and previous movie said that someone always made sure to send allies to protect Sarah and John. Where's the ally here? Nothing explained how the ally found the girl. Question for you. Aren't the Terminator the best asset you can send to the past to protect someone? If so, why they send a normal human that is simply augmented? And they said it, she's just augmented. She's a human. Why don't you send a Terminator? Next up, how did Sarah knew where to find Danny? The lore aspect also make it dumb. They would send human with limitation over the other Terminator to protect important figures. Next up, trying to be funny when it isn't. Dialogue about her wishing Sarah and Grace weren't that white. That's like, what the fuck is that dialogue, bro? Whatever. Telling instead of showing the father dead over the can of peach. The same plots of past movies for the fifth time. The main character wasn't able to aim, but suddenly she could white out any training whatsoever. The scene in nighttime has terrible lightning. Sarah and the others surviving the explosion that killed the Terminator. I felt nothing when Grace died because I wasn't invested in the movie. And that's the first time an ally dies that I don't care. We covered 5 other movies. Each time the death of the ally was sad. Here I felt nothing because I was pissed at the movie. I thought that was a terrible movie. So yeah, that's how I see Dark Fate. It's just bleeding of issues. It contradicts so much things. It contradicts itself. It's just not good. Um, I guess there are still a few things I liked. Fight choreography is cool. Music, car chase. The brother that was sad. That was before many issue piled up. Maybe that's why it left an impact for me. The lore is fine about stopping Terminator fast or malfunctioning. Flashbacks were cool. The action was cool. When there was action, that was fine. But that's the only good thing about this movie. The story is shit. The script is shit. The execution is shit. The idea are dumb. This movie is terrible. I don't have much more to say. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, that's it.
What would be your grade out of 10?
3.
For me, that's a 3.5 out of 10.
Yeah, and overall, so yeah, this would be my rankings of all the films in the private chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see why. Next up, I guess I will mark down the timestamp. Let's mark down the timestamp T5200 P6. Dark Fate is so bad. Okay, Superman and Lois. That's no, actually, yeah, that's the next one.
Right.
Superman and Lois.
I enjoyed it this week. Although, you know, I was hoping for a little bit more than I should have expected. I was just maybe a little disappointed they left off on like a cliffhanger and such until season four, and the how they did it during a fight thing, and they rehashed a lot of stuff, but it was still good. It was still good, like writing and acting, I guess, and character stuff. But yeah, and then they give some stuff to look forward to in season four, I guess. So yeah, um, it wasn't the greatest episode, but I enjoyed it still. And again, when it comes to TV shows like this, like like the CGI and like when he's flying and such, like it doesn't look like perfect or anything. It doesn't look the greatest because TV shows don't have like, besides the odd ones, they don't have like the highest budget or anything. But so taking that into consideration, I mean, the way they still utilize it in Superman and Lois and in this episode with the budget they have and knowing it's a TV show instead of like a DC or Marvel film, it's really well done. So I give them props there. But yeah, overall enjoyed it. What did you think?
That episode, I had a blast, bro. No issue whatsoever. The perfect episode. Uh, there was that long build up for that big action piece with Doomsday. I liked it, and also they gave some kind of closure to the people from Smallville, basically. And yeah, I really liked this episode. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this was actually the best season the show aired. That was my favorite season. Now, this episode, I liked the opening sequence, the Kents, Cal and Chrissy having their happy ending, Luther killing someone, Lana and John dates. The Kent's dinner discussion about the usage of the powers was amazing. Jordan healing, having character growth and having closure with Sarah. The flashback were cool. Funny scene where Cal asked Chrissy to marry him. Liked it. Doomsday looked better than in BVS. Funny. A show did it better. Fight choreography, the music. The big action piece in the end was amazing. I liked it a lot. Um, that will look fast because I don't have much more to say, and you can tell my voice is all kind of messed up. So I'd suggest we move on to grade. I give this episode a 10 out of 10. What
Give it an
about you?
8.
8. So now that the episode is over, what did you think of the overall season?
I thought it was great, and again, in the start of the show, I was given. Again, I didn't want to overhype the show because I was afraid to. I'll be honest, and this was only like the third time ever this has happened with like any film or show ever. That I was a little bit afraid to overhype it in case of things. So because of that, I did every episode like I gave a rating for. It was like a point or two lower than what I truly think about it. So like when I give an episode like a 6 out of 10, it really was like a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. So yeah, overall, the show rating of this season in general would be probably like an 8 out of 10 as well. Really enjoyed the season, and season one and season two would be like 7.5s, I would say. So yeah, this is like my favorite season, and I really enjoyed like the first season and such. So it's really impressive what they did here, but I just think the acting was phenomenal by everybody. I think they all did a great job, and there were some stupid character moments, but it was mainly in like the first 3 episode or 4 episodes. I did think after that it really picked up.
You did cut off at picked up.
Oh no! I was done talking.
Okay, so I remember giving season 1 a 9.5, I believe, or a 9.7. I can't remember the exact number. That's one of the two. Season 2, I gave a 8 or a 8.5. One of these two as well. Season 3, I really think really hard right now. And I can't remember an issue in the entire story of the entire season. I know some episodes are not perfect and some episodes had issues for me. Uh but the overall season was a masterpiece for me. If I can't remember something that really bothered me this season, bruh, bruh, I will give this season a 10 out of 10. And this is the second 10 out of 10 I ever gave. The
Yeah.
first one being Stargirl third season. I think Stargirl third season would be slightly better. Yeah, I'd say Stargirl third season would be slightly
Yeah, I
better.
don't know what it is about like Stargirl season 3, but just something about that show hits so well for me.
I think it's for me. It was more of the emotional impact, the mystery, and the characters. I think,
I don't know, so I just love the tone of it, and
yeah,
I think it also just like personally, I was going through things at the time when we were watching it, and I think the show, came out at the perfect time to really enjoy it at its, season 3, Stargirl at its peak quality.
yeah. I think Stargirl would be slightly better than Superman and Lois, but Superman and Lois third season is still a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a perfect season. Some episodes are not perfect, but the season itself is. And I enjoyed it a lot. I'm excited about season 4, and they did set the bar very high with the next Lex Luthor, them having a reduced cast, so now it's only balls to the walls with the main story. I'm excited. I really want some great things for season 4, and maybe I overhype it. Maybe I will end up being disappointed. I hope I'm not, but I'm very positive. I have hopes. What do you think will be the outcome of the cliffhanger we got?
Um, I don't think either will get defeated. I think something will eventually happen during it where maybe it's like they both knock each other back or something, and I feel like they'll fight again. I don't feel like this will be the end, but the in episode 1 of season 4. Uh, and with what it sets up, I don't know, but I'm excited. Having a smaller, condensed story for this will leaves a lot of hype because of what they can do now with all those aspects. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do there, and also excited because I'm pretty sure it will come out in 2024 or 2025, and it's right before the Superman film if the release date is on schedule. So if it was coming out after it, then they probably wouldn't like want it as competition and wouldn't try as much with it. But since it's coming out before it, they have no issue with it. So I think they're going to go, just full out with it and its quality as best as they can.
I think the downfall of the um, cliffhanger will be a Superman death story. Yes, I suspect they will kill Superman, and I suspect to keep him still around in the show, he will be used as flashback or something. Because if he dies, I think his death will stick for at least, I hope, two
Uh,
episodes or
so,
three.
so the death of Superman. Actually, the more that would make sense, and then like his son would then. Hmm, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I hope if they go that route, they find ways to include Clark, but past Clark, and they only bring him back like after 2 or 3 episodes, so we really experience the void Clark left. They kill Clark off and they bring him back at the end of the episode, it's wrong. Don't do that. But if they kill him and bring him back like flashbacks or something, I'm sure they can find ways. They are smart. They are a good writer. I believe in them. But yeah, anything else to add for Superman and Lois?
No. So I guess we do Gotham Knights next.
Yes. What
That
did you think?
garbage. I was laughing so hard. It's just the way this all played out was ridiculous and made no sense, and it was also stupid and Two-Face, and this looked like shit. But I mean, the actor at least he tried his best, to like pull off the lines and stuff. But yeah, the character is just ridiculous, and so cheap. Uh, and that scene that played out with him in the van. I mean, it's been done many times in movies far better, so I'm not going to give it any credit there. Just the whole supporting cast I hated. Uh, yeah, it's just stupidity all around. I hated the story in this and how it all played out, and I hate the acting. I think some character resolutions were undercooked, felt rushed, and or felt like they didn't even start on it at all. And then the endings and such. Well, what I will say is, luckily for CW, they did end it in a way where, even though they're canceled after season one now, it doesn't feel completely like fulfilling for people who watched it, because you can then like come up with like then he'll just like people think he's dead as his son, and then he'll just go into hiding and train, I guess, and become like the next Batman, while the others become the Gotham Knights, I guess, sort of, maybe, I don't know. You could like say that. So even though let was left off like that, I guess it worked out a little bit there, but yeah, it's still ridiculous, and it's also stupid that he actually went back in the building in the first place to do that. That was like there was no reason to get all that info from his father. Like they knew everything. They didn't need, and they didn't explain it. Whatever. This is hurt in my brain. What did you think?
So I will surprise you and maybe shock you. The episode is not perfect. It has issues, but I think this episode was actually average. It shocked me on how invested I was. Maybe it's because I knew that was the end and there's no more show after that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, first issue. It's stupid how the court used to be smart and stealthy, but now they are just blood angry. They go in the police precinct killing everyone. The relationship gossip is pointless. I hate it. The dialogue is as bad as every other episode. No setup for whoever saved Turner bother me. People don't happen to just appear somewhere at the right moment. I was bothered by this shit. I really hated that. Anyway, I admit it was action, it was entertaining. I admit the mother death was sad. Well, dead. The emotional beats throughout the episode with the mother was fine, I should say. The mother growth into accepting her daughter becoming a hero was kind of shocking, because these writers don't know how to make character growth, but they actually did. So I was shocked. The allow growth into a hero also shocked me. Like, bruh, these writers, they got better. They're still shit, but they got better. The guy killing his mother, saving Duella, I will admit, I like the music. The ending, I think I will give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. What about you?
I'll give it a 2.5 to be generous, because there were things that weren't terrible, I guess, but it wasn't enough for me. Like I hear what you're saying. I do see where you're coming from, and especially with the one character in some aspects. I just think those. I think that makes up like 5% of this episode, and the rest of it is just fucking like mush. I hate it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. You have every right, bro. And I will say this: that's the only watchable episode. Uh, I think that's the first time I give something more than a 6. So I'm kind of shocked. Um, yeah, the show's done. Thank God. Or I should say, thanks CW because they canned this shit.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna renew it because again, I thought they would be like, well, look, you know, with Superman and Lois, a new film's coming out, so look, we had a fulfilling ending, so let's just wrap it up. And with Gotham Knights, though, we can't cancel it after one season. We did it up, with Naomi, but she wasn't really a character anybody knew or cared about. But the Gotham Knights, and a lot of people are hate watching it, so we have high ratings. So let's renew it for a second season.
I rating, bro. I think this is one of the lowest rated show ever on CW. I need to
Well, maybe
investigate that.
maybe like later on, but in like the first
But
4 episodes and such, people were hate watching it, and it was up there with like the highest like viewed show at the current moment. It was ridiculous. So because of all that, I genuinely thought like there would have been a chance where they actually renewed it.
yeah, I see where you're coming from. They still renewed like Batwoman 3 season, despite season one, the only one that did decent. They renewed Legends despite having like 2, 3 seasons that were watched.
Yeah,
Um,
that's being generous. How about zero? Like fucking hell, that
yeah,
what the fuck were they even like trying to do with that show? That was hilarious. That was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. That's like watching The Young and the Restless in 2023 with their like 500,000 episodes since like 1960 or 1950 in that soap opera. I'm wondering what the fuck is going on.
so what would be your grade out of 10 for the entire season?
Uh, Around a 1.5 or a 2.
So for me, this was a treat. Um, Now I remember giving Legends fourth season a 3. I think I'd say Legend take the win there because Constantine was a good thing, and Gotham Knight had Duella that was sometime good, and RV was sometime good, but nobody is as good as John was in Legends. So, I guess we can move to Arrow third season. Oh my, oh my, oh my. What did you think of Arrow third season, bro?
Yeah, I'm just give me a second. My thing's lagging right now. Uh, right, I'm just pulling up the season here, so I have a little refresher on some of the episodes. All right, so yeah, season three. Yep, I enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as like season two or whatnot, or season one even, but it's definitely up there still. I enjoyed a lot about it. But again, honestly, all the things I enjoyed about it and some of the things I had a bit of a gripe with it, I'll be honest, is sort of the same as the last 2 seasons. They don't really yeah, I don't really have any like difference, between them. I like the action stuff. I like the lighting. I like some of the production. I like the sound design and all that. I like the actor, but some of the other stuff was weak, and of course some aiming was shit. But I will say some of the storylines in this in episodes I thought was really intriguing this time. I thought some of them in season two was lacking a bit, and there's definitely some of it in this season that lack a little bit. Some episodes, but I think there's a lot more of the good ones. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think for my top three episodes, it would probably be Public Enemy, number 18. Then I would say, which was it again? Episode 9, The Climb. And then episode 8, The Brave and the Bold. Those would probably be my top three.
What would be another one outside of Brave of the Bold as a third one?
Probably episode 20, The Fallen.
Okay. So a bit of history. I was watching as it first aired. I was hyped. I was excited because that was the first season I actually watched as it was airing. Because I kind of met the show during the off season. Right after season 2 ended, I binge watched season 1 and 2 back to back. And I was really hyped for season 3. And I was kind of excited. I liked it a lot the first time I've seen it, but that's like almost 10 years ago now. I changed. I've seen better stuff, and I've seen worse stuff. Um, I used to not really be critical, or I used to not really understand deeper story beats or themes and stuff. I was just looking for the flashy things, the shiny things. And there's a lot of shiny things. And sometimes the fights are cool, I will admit. Even more critically thinking and speaking, some of it is really good. But then there's the bad. The bad. The bad, the bad.
Well, how much bad do you think it has? Because, I mean, it has bad moments, but
My.
I honestly enjoyed the season overall, and I don't know.
You know me. I when they speak about secret and that break relationship apart, it's really annoying. That was one of my issues with season 2. But here it's like on 2000. It's like tweaked to the roof. Like the only tool they have for drama is someone lied to someone else. And I think it's lazy, annoying, and it also insults the viewer. But that's just me, more critical, like me that has realized things went wrong. Now, a bit more of history. I got older, the show went on, season 4 happened, season 5 happened. As season 6 was airing, I decided to rewatch the show. And I had a few issues, like Laurel becoming the next Black Canary, because I didn't realize that was in character. As of today, I cannot hold that against the story, because Laurel was always a fighter. There was that root of her wanting to help. That was the reason she became a lawyer. And why she didn't become a cop was because of her father. So, with more maturity today, I'm like, Laurel, your character arc is on point. But here's the thing. There's always a thing. They sped up things too fast. It's hilarious how everyone is well trained in Team Arrow and the supporting cast is well trained. And you just got her that got a few self defense class as a child. Then she get a few boxing classes and she goes down on the street and she tried to be a vigilante. I feel like it's too soon. The character arc itself is fine, but the placement of it is wrong because this tells the viewer and the universe itself anybody can be a vigilante. You don't need to be as trained as Oliver or Roy or the others. And even the show is kind of aware of that because people are against Laurel for wanting this. But then even if they are against that, they let her do it anyway. So I'm like, bruh, pick a side. You say like she's not trained enough, she shouldn't be on the street, and you send her anyway? It's stupid. Character do stupid shit. People agree on that. And when Oliver comes back, he makes a point. But no, she needs to remain a vigilante because everyone needs to be in Team Arrow. This bothers me a lot. Now, Laurel. Season 2, her bad side was part of her character growth, right? So I didn't thought her bad side ruined her character or story. I think her bad side, the addiction and stuff, was cool because it gave her a good story. This season, Laurel bad side is yapping, screaming at everyone, being angry at everyone. That bothers me. What else bothers me even more? She lies to everyone all the time. And then she's complaining about not having other people trust. It's like, sister, stop doing this shit. You lie to everyone. And then you cry that people don't trust you. I'm gonna break my screen. So what I used to think was an issue that I didn't really understand in the past, now I understand why I hated Laurel becoming a vigilante more in depth. It's the execution of it and how fast she is thrown in the mix and how fast she becomes a vigilante. This is funny because there's more Laurel issue there. Remember in season 2, episode 5, it took both Sarah and Oliver, two well-trained vigilante, to fight one League of Assassin guy. They almost lost to the guy. Yes, the guy ran away, but he had the upper hand. The fight was tight. And now guess who's taking out like Legion of League warrior? Laurel.
Yay.
She flips them left and right. She's not even trained. Well, okay, at the end of season 3, we can argue she's slightly better than in the early stage because Nissa is a good teacher. Okay, granted. So now you nerf the villains to make your story work. You nerf your villains so Laurel can kick butts. I'm pissed. If Laurel became a vigilante in season 4 instead of 3, I think it could have been much better. Hell, push that to season 5. There's no rush for her to take the mantle. But they wanted to rush things because they're not patient, because they want the hype, the shock value, and you get like a universe where anybody can be vigilante. And I miss the old Team Arrow when Oliver was the only guy on the field. And by the way, John Diggle keep going out on the field without a mask. That pissed me off so much every time. It's like, bro. Next up, Quentin Lance. Yeah. Season 1 and 2 gave a lot of growth to Quentin Lance. He changed. He evolved. Season 3, they ran out of ideas, and I think some people working on the show changed. I'm pretty sure people changed because these people, they don't understand character growth. They did what I call character assassination with Quentin Lance. Because he regressed back to his season 1 former self based on lies. He is back at hunting Arrow because Arrow didn't told him about Sarah. That broke my brain. It's like all that growth you had in season 1 and 2, you threw it Down the window! Why? Oh yeah, Felicity?
Yeah, well, she's shit as always, but what do you expect?
Bro, I liked her in season 1 and 2. She was good. She was well written.
I didn't.
Here she's bumped out to be drama queen, crying and screaming at everyone all the time. It's unbearable. Um, she was good when she was comic relief. She was good when she had that thing for Oliver, but that wasn't really uh, something they shared. Yes, Oliver always cared for her, but there was no true love. Season 3 wanted them to be a couple. Great. Season 3 wanted to give so much to Felicity that now we get to meet her mother. Great.
We really needed that.
We really needed that shit.
Uh,
Really.
yeah, I mean, this shit I agree with. I will say, though,
Oh,
some of the stuff you said of the other stuff, I mean, I kind of agree with, but most of it, I don't know, that stuff I don't really care as much or see as much of an issue. And even if it is, I don't really see if it as like a big enough ones to like take points off or not enjoy it still.
well, I'm glad you enjoyed the season probably much more than me.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. It's like I'm not saying those flaws you're mentioning aren't there. It's just most of them. I think they're very minor ones where they don't take away from it. Still,
yeah. So, another thing. Oliver. The Climb. Back in the day, I was hyped because I was watching that weekly. That was the mid-season finale, so I waited like almost 2 months to see what happens next. I kind of knew he wouldn't die because that's the main character, but he actually died, and they brought him back to life. We are in mystical territory now. It's no more my grounded show I liked. Mary Carew soldier are a thing, but now he can literally defy death. That bothers me because it's beyond uh, super serum and stuff. So Oliver thought he could beat Ra's al Ghul. I will let that sink in. Oliver used to be smart. I will let that sink in. Oh yeah, Merlin used Tia as an incentive for Oliver to fight Raz, and he's saying his goodbyes to everyone. He goes there to die. Yeah, you see, the good Oliver was back in the back half because he actually went after Ra's al Ghul after having a plan. You know, a plan. Kill Raz by the inside. In episode 9, it feels just very, very forced the way they pit Oliver against Raz. I won't say it's not really in character because Oliver would really die for his sister. I agree with that. But the execution of it is godly awful. If you really want to take down Raz, you try to involve the team with you. You come up with a plan. You got Malcolm with you. Bullet can kill. You just freaking murder Raz. Gun, I don't care. Find something. But no, Oliver goes on the hill thinking he can beat the strongest killer in history. All for the shocking value. All
yeah,
for the shocking value. It's such a shame. Flashbacks, uh, most of the time, are filler. The only important ones were like when we had Oliver becoming friend with Maceo and saving Maceo's wife. But the entire military aspect of it was awful. It was shit. Um, the triad wasn't always great. The Omega virus, I didn't care about it. That's the first time where flashbacks are not as strong and important as season one and two. Yeah, it's such a shame for me the way I see it. They're so good. Look, most of the time, I say most of the time because there are times it doesn't work, but most of the time, fight choreography is still decent. I say decent because it's nowhere near as good as season one and two. Right now, they speed up things. They add so much to it that you don't always get to see everything and don't always get to understand everything that's going on. They just splash 20 people into a fight and expect you to get every second of it and see everything. It's not all you make fight choreography, bro. The best fight, you need two or three people. That's it. You don't need 20. It's all about spectacle. It's all about spectacle. Season three wants to impress you. They're like, we need to do bigger. We need to go bigger. It's not good. It's not how you make storytelling, especially when you pretend to be grounded. So, with that being said, there are still highlights. The fact that now Oliver told the truth to Tia was cool. Slade coming back for even one episode was really cool. That wasn't my favorite episode because there was a lot of issue with that episode, but I enjoyed Slade Wilson only episode. Malcolm Merlin was fine. I feel like he was only brought back because he's a fan favorite. I didn't feel the need of having him, but hey, we got what we got, right? And he's not an issue, as I said. He did a good job with the material he got. This, I liked her a lot. Raz Al Ghul as a villain is kind of shit. I hate him. Um, yeah, I guess spectacle wise, it goes on. It's entertaining. The first few episodes are enjoyable, but the back half is so rough. It has some of the worst thing in the show. Um, I like the new suit, I guess, because he got more sleeves. Um, sword fight are nice. These are the best fight that season. I really tried to praise the show. Ray Palmer, he is a great character. I truly hate the love triangle, but I like the character. What did you think of Ray Palmer?
I liked it.
Okay,
I mean, did you?
yeah, Ray was amazing.
Mhm.
I truly hated the love triangle, but Ray as a character was great. Um, Now you mentioned your top three. What would be your worst three?
Sorry. Let's see. Worst three. I would have to go back to it as a refresher. Okay. It'd probably be episode 7. Draw back your bow. Uh, episode 11. Midnight City. And then third would be episode 6. Guilty. Uh, I heard a lot of people say they hated uh, the last episode and what was it again? Right, episode 16 as well, and episode I believe 3, but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate them. But yeah, those were 3 episodes I just thought were bad, straight up bad. But all the others I didn't mind.
So I will let you guess two of my worst three, and then I will talk about my worst three.
Uh, okay, well, we'll say episode 23, episode episode 23 and episode 6, I'll say, and then I guess episode 7.
You only hit one of the three. I will let you guess which one of the three you hit right.
Episode 6.
Nope.
Oh,
That was
episode
episode
23.
7.
Oh, wait, 7. Okay.
That
Okay,
was
okay,
godly
okay.
awful.
I didn't think you would. That was just a throw. I didn't. Okay, well,
I always hated that episode. Even
wait, hold on. Was
like
episode 11 one of them then as well?
nope.
Oh,
But
wow,
that
okay.
one is close. It almost made it to worst three. Um, but that's a fun fact. That episode, even back in the day when I wasn't as critical and I was just hyped about the show, I actually didn't like 7. That's hilarious. Like, I never liked that episode at all. Never. It's always like one of the worst. So, 7, 5, and 10. With honorable uh, mention, 11 was a close fourth. So before I show my tier list, I will
I
let
will
you.
say though, I will say one. I guess maybe I should have guessed 5 and 10 just based on what they're about and what you said.
Huh?
I'm saying maybe I should have guessed episode 5 and 10 then as some of your worst. Now that I think about it, now that you said it, because of what they're about and the things
Yeah,
you hated about the season.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. Um, do you have any guess for my top three?
uh, yeah, I hope episode 9's on there, and then I would say maybe episode 15 might be on there, and then maybe episode uh what was it? And then maybe episode. I'm trying to think. Maybe 1. So yeah, I'll go that 1. Yeah, 1, 9, and 15.
Okay. So here's the moment where I share my screen. That will be funny. So this is the tier list I'm making so far. Draw back your bow. Origin are awful. Left Behind awful. Midnight City almost made the cut. Now my top three would be The Magician, followed by Corto Maltese and Sarah. These are my favorites because they
Really?
had the less amount of issues. They were not perfect by any means. Just the fact that they are in season 3 stopped them from being perfect. Um, but I didn't have that many issues with these three. I was actually entertained.
Damn.
Uh,
I mean, I figured there'd be like safer episodes, but damn, I mean, like, where would you put the? Hold on, where would you then rank episode 9?
9 is in my sevens.
Like, what? So you didn't like the climb?
No, because I thought that was really dumb. How Oliver just got there to get killed. I like the fight. That was the only good thing about that episode. But that episode was, I think, the execution is terrible.
I mean, look, I think even smart people, there comes to a certain point where they overestimate themselves. And I think with the story they were telling with Oliver at that point, I think it wasn't too far fetched for him to go there. And then I think the rest of the episode was just amazingly made and done. So
I
that's,
like
it surprised me.
I like the fight. That was the best part of that episode. But there were many issues. I can't remember each single issues because obviously I've seen all 23 episodes pretty fast as a refresher. So um, if it's out there, it's because it had issues. And what I also did, because it's season 3 and I really didn't like the season, every episode lost an entire point. So just because they're in season 3, they lost a point for being in season 3. So at at first, the magician, Corto Maltese, and Sarah were all part of the S rank, but they didn't belong anymore because it's like season 3. It's like season 3 is just bad. Um, then I had My Name, Fallen, and Broken Arrow in A plus, but they dropped because it's season 3 and they were not that great. And then we had The Return, Brave and the Bold, Guilty. Fun fact: Brave and the Bold, I actually found more issue than ever. At the same for The Return. I I thought a
You
long time.
didn't like the Brave and the Bold.
I still liked it, but it had much more issues than what I used to think. Um, so yeah, these three were in A, and these three I think were also in A. So I suspect these two were in B. Um, so yeah, the climb, since it was a at first 8.5, I probably had like 5 issues with it, and a sixth issue being like the fact that it's in season 3. Um, yeah, I man, he just got thrown a cliff and he was brought back to life. It's like, bro, that's not the show I used to enjoy. Um, so yeah, let's stop that stream share.
Also,
Um,
I will say there is a lot of like thunder and lightning outside right now, and there's a chance that my power could actually like go out soon. So
oh,
so let's try to
speed up. Yeah,
yeah,
okay. What would be your grade out of 10 for season 3?
5.5. Like again, it's definitely a big step down. I still enjoyed it though.
It's hilarious because we are pretty close. I would give a 5 with this most recent watch. I always used to think, except for the first time. The first time I thought I was like a 9 or a 10. I wasn't as critical. But after the first time, like every other watch got worse. It dropped to a 7, dropped to a 6. This time around, it just dropped to a 5. It's like this season got worse every time I've seen it. Because now I understand what they were doing. I fully understand the plot and everything. And some of the ideas are really good, but the execution is terrible. And Sarah really feels missing, man. Anyway, any closing thoughts on our third season?
No,
Black Lightning. What did
yeah.
you think?
Right. Let me just pull up these fucking episodes again, so I have a bit of a refresher. This was the first one that I watched in the week. The season finished it up. So this one is the furthest along in my memory, but hopefully I still remember some things. Right. Ah, God, why is my PC just loading like this? Fucking hell. Right, season three of Black Lightning. I thought was a bit disappointing, but I still enjoyed it kind of. But I didn't like it as much as season one or season two though. Uh,
Oh, I'm surprised.
yeah, no, I still enjoyed it. I just didn't like it as much as those. Like I do think there's aspects of this that are definitely better, like better made than season one and season two. But I think uh, character wise, acting wise, and all that, I didn't like it as much. I like the stories, and I like also I actually like like some of the visuals and production design in this season, but I I just thought the characters were really at a lot of points were kind of poorly done. But I will say though that's my complaints are mainly in the first half of the show. Though I think in the second half it really starts to
Picked
pick
up.
up. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it a lot more. Yeah, I would say episode 5, episode 16, and episode uh, 13 are my favorites, and then my least favorites are episode 2, which I was very disappointed by because there's an actor in it I really like, but and then episode 6, and then episode 7, and also episode 10 is up there as well. Well, I mean down there. And I also enjoyed kind of episode 4 was one of the along with episode 5. Episode 4 is one of the episodes in the first half of the season that I enjoyed more. But it wasn't because it was. I thought because it was like the best made episode. I thought there were a lot of issues with it as well. But I just enjoyed the other aspects in that and like where it was taking things. So yeah, um, it's still a solid, all right show. I would say it's just yeah, I don't know. There was something about Blacklight in season one and season two that really clicked for me, and I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the characters. And in this one, there's definitely things they improved on, but then there's things I think got a lot worse. But I will say though, in season four, I've been watching. I'm almost done with it. That is probably the worst one out of the show for me. Besides a few episodes in it that I really enjoyed, but outside of that, season four would probably be the worst when we get to it. Yeah. What did you think though?
I I think this show got better each time I rewatched. Um, this time around, I had a blast, but I can fully see why and where you are coming from when you say the back half is where things pick up. This is true. The pacing of this season is kind of slow, but for once, for once, uh, I'm in. I didn't mind the slow pacing. I thought just like you, the back half is better than the first half, but I enjoyed a lot the entire season and a lot more than any past viewing. So I think this is like the third time or the fourth time I rewatched this third season. Season 3 and 4 are the two seasons I've seen the least. Um, yeah, this time around, man, it's a masterpiece for me. So I was wondering, how did you think the addiction storyline was handled?
No, again, I really like that. Again, the storylines I all really enjoyed. Like again, I said I didn't like it as much as season one and season two. That's all, but I still enjoy it. But yeah, and the storylines I think were the best done out of any season in the show. I just didn't like the characters and some like performances I thought were lacking a bit.
What did you think of Anderson Deft?
Of who? Sorry.
Anderson, the detective,
Right. Right.
uh,
Okay.
Jefferson friend.
I was 50-50. There were some moments where it's like I think the line delivery and the movement, in scenes was just a little lazy.
What did you think of Odell as the main villain?
Um, it worked. Uh, yeah, I liked it. It worked.
Fun fact, here's what I think happened. Season 3 ended, there was drama behind the scenes. Because of the drama, uh, the main character, actor, uh, Chris Williams, I think, or I can't remember, Chris something, told the showrunner, cut it with season 4. Because the lead wanted to step down, I should say, because the lead wanted to leave, they were kind of forced into ending the show. And I think the original plan was for season 4 to be all about Gravedigger.
I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
But then, knowing season 4 was the last, they changed their plan and they swapped what would have been season 5 into season 4, keeping some of the idea they had for 4. Because I think what didn't change is the the first half of season 4 where Jeff doesn't want to be Black Lightning anymore. I think that was always part of their plan, but I don't think Tobias was the villain for season 4. So I suspect their original idea was to have that broken Jeff and build up to a Gravedigger and stuff, and that was the idea. Then knowing 4 was the last one, they swapped around stuff and they just removed Gravedigger. And they were like, okay, Tobias is the last bad guy. That's one thing. A second thing that's actually very funny. This season was written and shot during 2019 and 2020. So the back half was basically just before the lockdowns. And it's a bit hilarious because there are great parallels with reality and the show itself. And what's hilarious is they kind of predicted the future because most of the things that happened were similar to reality. And they were not like the other shows that were just following the trend to like address COVID and stuff. They kind of predicted COVID without predicting it. You know what I mean? They were like The Simpsons. And I think that's a very fun fact to share because they clearly had their plan for 5 seasons. So that entire occupation stuff, that was all written long before COVID happened. So I enjoyed a lot season 3. I think the overall show doesn't have any bad episode. Looking back, I changed my tier list. There are like 4 tiers: average, good, great, and amazing. Like the worst you can get with Black Lightning as a TV show is just an average episode. And that season was in the great to amazing for me. Um, so I will screen share the list I'm doing right now. That will be interesting to go over. There we go. Black Lightning. So, my least 3 favorite episodes were 7, 8, and 6. These are the bottom 3 for me in season 3. And my favorites were 16, 12, and 13. Honorable mention to 15. I really like 15. Um, but yeah, I think that season went from great to amazing. My biggest issues with season 3 would be the female supporting villain. She is a shit supporting villain. I truly hate her. And the racist supporting villain that works for Odell, the colonel, the general, the one that mimic other metas. I thought he was another terrible supporting villain. I think Gravedigger was likable. He was a very interesting villain. Um, but then we got the supporting villain for Markovia, the guy with the beard, was a terrible villain. And we got Tobias again, and I feel like he wasn't needed in season 3, and he was only brought there fan service because they know he did great with season 1 and 2. These are some of the issues I got. Sometimes some of the dialogue is not always amazing, but it's just sometimes. Um, what else? I like the addiction storyline a lot. The action, when there was action, was great. Also liked a lot the growth of Anderson. He used to be a guy that was all about the system, the laws. And this was part of his conflict with Jefferson in season 2 when he learned that Jefferson was a vigilante. It's the idea of Jefferson being a vigilante that bothered him. And now, because of all of the experience he got, he is leading the resistance. He is doing a fight against the system. And I like it. I like that kind of growth that doesn't feel like character assassination but progress because the character is living through different story. The same goes for Jefferson. As a vigilante, he is against the system, right? But in the first half, Jefferson works end to end with the ASA, making him part of the system. I like that struggle. It's like a mirror, it's like a parallel between Jefferson and Anderson. And I will mention Grace here. Grace and Anissa relationship is the perfect relationship. I like them. They have chemistry. They're all well written characters. I enjoy them a lot. And their love feels very real because it's well written in the show. What did you think of Grace and Anissa?
Yeah, I think that was good.
Like, the message behind that love is don't really look at the physique, look at the person inside, and it's all about trust, it's all about like understanding. This is love, man. I think in the CW/DC stuff, this is probably one of the best relationship ever. The only thing that come close is like Superman and Lois. I think that's the only thing that come close to Nessa and Grace. Um, so yeah, that's how I see Nessa and Grace, and it's also good representation because it's a lesbian couple, and it's a well written one. Like, take example of this shit, writers, if you really want diversity. Um, so yeah, that's how I see it. Um, Having the divide within the family was really cool. What did you think of episode 9, the one about Crisis?
Sorry, you said episode 9.
Yeah, the Crisis one.
Uh, yeah, that was also up there for one of my favorites. That was probably be like 4 for fifth, and then another. Yeah, out of the ones I didn't mention, the 15th would be my fourth, just outside of the top three, and then that's where I would put episode 9, Crisis.
I also enjoyed a lot the character that went against the AC when he realized they are wrong and what they do is wrong. I like that a lot. Um, I think I'm all messed up, and we covered lots of ground. What would be your grade out of 10 for season 3?
Uh, I'd give it like a. I think I gave the others like a 5.75 and then like a 6 or so. So, but this one I'll give like a 5.5. Again, it's solid. I don't know. I thought this would be the best season. I just for me, I don't know. I just didn't like it as much. Didn't hit for me.
For me, this is a 9.5 out of 10. This is hands down my favorite season. And just like wine, as you go older, it goes better. Um, so yeah, I really liked that episode a lot and that season. Um, and as usual, any closing thought on Black Lightning?
No, that's it really. I just season 4 right now. I've been watching, and yeah, it's been getting a little rough. Probably going to be my weakest season out of the show, but I don't hate it. But yeah, we'll see when I finish it. I'm almost done. I'm like four episodes left or so.
Okay. Um, yeah, I always thought season 4 was kind of equal to season 1. I thought season 1 was rough. Even if it got better as I rewatched the show again and again, it's always a rough season. I think season 1 is average at best. If you give all the credit in the world you can give. Um, so yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for season 3 for me. I I really like season 3. It's always my favorite, and yeah. Um, thank you very much as usual, man. I
Yeah.
hope I will get better. I will.
Yeah, I mean, so are we going to save, because we got Black Mirror left.
Oh right, Black Mirror. I almost forgot. Yeah, let's cover Black Mirror.
Right. And
I
then,
actually had seen it earlier today.
yeah.
Almost forgot about it because it's not in the title. Where
Yeah.
are you, Black Mirror? Where are you?
Yeah. Well, I will
You
say
can
out of
start
the,
off on on Black Mirror.
yeah,
Start
well,
on that one.
yeah, on, I mean, out of the shows we watched today, this is definitely my favorite. I, season 5 and season 6 are rough. The show went downhill. I mean, season 6 was a bit of improvement, but season 5 was just a disaster when we get to it. When Netflix like bought it and did weird shit with it, but before then, Black Mirror has been like one of my favorite sci-fi shows ever. It's just amazing, and yep, season 1 I thought was incredible. Episode 1 I just is excellent in my opinion. I think it's a great satire, political satire, and thought it was really funny and had a lot of great elements, and yeah, that climax and such, and some of it is unrealistic and purposely, but other parts of it is realistic. And then and then episode 2 would probably be my favorite out of the three. I really just enjoyed the world building in that. It's a little bit outdated nowadays, but it's still amazing in my opinion, and has Daniel Kaluuya in it, which is always a plus. Thought he did incredible in that episode, and yeah, I thought the ending was yeah, definitely something unpredictable you didn't really see, and thought it worked really well with the whole thing they were like building up, and the message across with that whole world. And then episode 3, probably the least memorable out of the three, just because there were other episodes later on in like season 2 and season 3 and such are a little similar to it, so it makes this one a little lost in shuffle for me. But it's still an amazing episode, amazing performances in my opinion, amazing plot, and with that thing, again, another thing, with futuristic stuff, which would have, but then it shows the dark side of it, which is sort of like what the show's about, and in all 3 episodes here and in throughout the whole show. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. Yep. So episode rankings would probably be 2, 1, and then 3 for me. Anyway, what about you?
There we go. I was on mute. My favorite episode was hands down the first one. I had no issue whatsoever. I liked everything about episode one, and I was hyped. Episode two, I only had two issues. The pacing, I feel like it could have been trimmed down. Instead of an hour, the same like 50-ish, 40 minutes as the other two. The other thing is the douchebag is an awful one-dimensional character. I truly hated that character. Took me out of it fast. Side note about the third one, I lost interest fast. Um, I don't know. It's because I was tired. I really don't
I
know the
will say
reason.
it is out of the three, and out of like other episodes that do similar things throughout the show, this one is definitely a little. This one's definitely a bit uninteresting, like in premise and like execution and stuff. It's a little like vanilla compared to like, and you'll see in season 2, season 3, season 4. There are a lot of episodes that are do a similar type thing to it, and this one in comparison is a little but and like like being memorable and like being exciting and stuff and what's going on. But I still really enjoyed it though because I just thought it was an amazingly made and amazingly executed episode though.
So episode three, my only true issues is the pacing. I doubt that's the kind of stuff you can get under 30 minutes. Get your message through, and yeah, it pretended to be bigger than what it was. It's basically just a guy obsessed over the past because he keeps rewatching. That's like the main reason of
Yeah, I
conflict.
think that's very realistic though. This day and age though, like so many people are like that these days. Like they'll keep rewatching like it's like and I can advocate for that. Like with being on streams recently with people over like for over a year now. Like there are so many people who it's like something small on a stream will tick them off, and they'll keep rewatching that moment for many months. And then it will like boil over, and it will enrage them. Like they think just like off of like a millisecond moment, like somebody saying something to them that might have come off wrong, that then they just hate them, and then we'll like have this like yeah, it's just this argument over and shit. It's like this happens all the time on online on YouTube and social media these days. So
Yeah, as I said, that's not really an issue for me. That premise is cool, like it, but the execution don't think is good.
yeah, it's a little yeah, it's a little bland in execution. It's
Yeah.
definitely like the weakest out of the three.
Um. So first episode for me was a 10 out of 10. Second one 9.5. Third one 9.5. But the second one I was much more invested. I don't have much more to say, to be honest. Like I think it reflects very well society, and this is a strength. It's really good. People working on the show are smart. And I like it. I really like that. They have really good idea. I like it.
Yeah, I would say all these ideas basically I had in my mind at one point. So when I was watching the show, I was like, God damn it, I was gonna do that. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, I will say then in season 2, um, right, I do think season two's a little bit weak, weaker than season 1. Sort of. I do, when you watch it, I do think episode 2 is really good. and it's also something that I thought of for a while. The premise, so I won't spoil it, but yeah, I thought it was really, really good though, and well done overall. Even though there's some points where it maybe could have been done better. And then there's an episode 4, which originally didn't air with season 2. It was a Christmas special that came out the next year, like a whole year, like a year and even longer than a year, like almost like 2 years later, sort of at Christmas. But I thought that episode was amazing though, and it's a part of season 2 now. So those two I do enjoy. The other 2 episodes, though, I definitely think are 2 of the weaker episodes in the show, at least until season 5. But I think season 3 and season 4, though, yeah, are really, really, really great. I think those are like, to an extent, the peak of the show that it can show to an extent, in my opinion.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add about
No,
Black
not
Mirror?
me. What about you?
No. I think everything was said. Um.
Yeah, I
So
will say though, if you want to, you can make like a tier list of ranking the episodes. You know,
yeah. We will see. We will see. Um. Anyway, as usual, man. Thank you very much. I'm having a blast every week with you. I enjoy this adventure.
yeah,
Happy first year anniversary, man.
oh yeah, and oh right, it's the first anniversary. Nice, and it's a good timing though. We got 2 guests on. It could have been a record 5 if DC showed up, but was taking time off, which is cool. A lot of stuff
That's
happened.
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, wow, we were so close.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also 4th of July, so in spirit, we didn't invite any Americans on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, jaded fanboy is not American.
Oh, he's like from Montreal or something, or
Oh,
Toronto.
really? Maybe
Yes.
he speaks French. I will
I don't
ask
think
him.
so. I don't remember exactly, but he's somewhere from Canada.
Okay.
He mentioned like Montreal before, and then like Toronto or Ontario. So I don't quite remember, but yeah. And yeah, with this, we almost reached 4 hours again. So hey,
Yeah, that's one thing. Man, I had a blast. As I said, it's official. Our podcast is 1 years old. It's still a baby, but I like the baby a lot.
again, just think back on the first episode where we were just like we didn't even know what to talk about.
Yeah. We were like, you like comic? Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
It's like
comic.
you seen Superman and Lois. Yeah. Have you seen the Flash? No, no. Okay.
Man, these old days, we changed a lot, and I think we found the perfect formula as of today. What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
Yeah. Definitely.
Man, as usual, we will talk later. Take care and have a good one, and see you later, man.
Yep. You too.